No, they don't.
France stopped mail-in ballots. I received 2 sets for a family of 5, 10 mail-in ballots.
John,
May
I
just say something to you? Because you sound like a smart guy. He's lying. The people that say these things are lying. They say these things without evidence, without support, without proof. I mean, look at the way ICE lies. Look at the way the people in his cabinet lie. They're lying. And then when you ask them for evidence, they don't have it. So, like I said, you sound like a smart guy. I mean,
John, we still want to meet you. You were going to come to the library.
Yeah.
Come on down and let's talk and face to face.
I mean, just one quick example. Every time there's an ICE thing, what do they say? They say, oh, the person was weaponized the ICE agent trying to run them over. And then the video comes out and they were lying. So it's kind of like a constant lie. And that's why you have to be so worried and upset.
And by the way, if he wants to say the elections are rigged, he needs proof that will hold up in a court, and it never has. Ellie in Dover, you're next. Hi, Ellie. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
First-time caller.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
I've been an election worker for 20 years.
Well, then we love you.
Your vote is so safe between mail-in ballots, between early voting. They have a procedure that everything is checked, it's monitored, it's locked up at night. The votes are not counted until the day of the election. And people should be proud of the people that work there.
Well, the only person who says it as well as you and who celebrates election workers is John King. And I am with him and I am with you. You're doing a great service. And virtually every analysis of the 2020 election said the safest, most secure election in our nation's history because of people like you, Ellie. Thanks.
You know what's another thing he lied about last night? The number of people who are supposedly voting illegally. He was claiming it was 250.
Undocumented, 278,000.
Yeah, that's right. And even people that want to go that high would say it's maybe more about 28,000. But even people that say it's 28,000 say when you look, it's often people that had become citizens between the before they voted. They weren't registered in the previous election, so it looks like they may have been unfairly there, but in fact they were recently become citizens.
Also,
so
what source did he cite last night for the 278,000? None.
I don't know what he's...
None.
But again, it was another big lie that I think... And even if it were 250,000 across the country of how many million are there in America now? 300 million, 350 million? I don't think it's enough to make a difference.
Well, I don't want to be, you're a little negative for me. I want to say the thing that was really positive, I want to repeat this, the fact that we are winning everything in Iran is really heartening because I was totally unaware of that. By the way, Nicole Garcia, who worked with us until last Friday when we had an extravagant farewell across the street with her, she just called Jamie. Was it you she called? She called Jamie. She now commutes to work in her car to NBC 10 Boston, and she said, quote, I listen to the show now on the radio, and it's so good, I had no idea.
And she worked for us for how long?
We call it work with us, is what we say, Marjorie.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Nicole, I'm glad you're getting to enjoy it now.
Why would she have had any idea? I mean, who would have known?
Here's an anonymous texter about last night's speech. I laughed, I cried, my brain is fried.
Zach in Springfield. Hello there, Zach. Welcome.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Marjorie.
Hi.
So I listened to the address, the special coverage on NPR last night, and 2 things around the theme kind of struck me. One, he just sounded extremely tired last night. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that.
Yeah,
but
he did.
He seems like he's just running on fumes.
And he was racing at the same time. I agree with you, Zach. Go ahead.
Yeah. But the other thing is that at its core, there are 3 things I think you can say about Trump. At its core, you've got incompetence, you've got corruption, but there's a fragility of ego, and that is what was at the forefront last night. He cannot allow himself to lose, or he cannot acknowledge that, and we're just kind of on part X of the I don't even know how to put it, the tour of basically trying to prop up some sort of legacy or reputation or whatnot. There's no reason to really do this at this point, I guess.
Well, his inability, a variation on what you say, and this is, every one of his aides leaks to the newspapers or TV, We want him to show, not everyone, want him to show some empathy. The fact that he cannot even get one sentence out of this Mines Act to say, I know some of you are not suffering, even though we have the hottest economy in the history of the world. He just, because it allegedly reflects negatively on him, the Bad News Act, despite everything you say being true in my estimation, he's got 2.5 more years to try to destroy this democracy. And so whether there's a Democratic Congress or not, it's a lot of time left. Zach, thank you for your call. We appreciate it. 877-301-8970.
Bill from Bridgewater is extremely disappointed, Jim.
Why?
He wanted Trump to offer his testosterone scores in the speech last night, and he did not. We're talking about the testosterone crackdown with Sue O'Connell a little bit later.
You know what sound we should have gotten? And
what?
in fact, if you can, someone can get this, Jamie, for when Sue's here. You know what they played on CNN last night, which I don't think I've ever heard before?
This?
No, RFK Jr. on Stephen Miller's wife's name, and I don't remember.
Katie.
Kate Miller. She has a podcast or something.
Very popular podcast.
Saying RFK Jr. says with a smile, the doctor said that Trump has the highest testosterone in the history of the world for an 80-year-old man, and he laughs to his credit and says he's going to love to hear me say that kind of thing. But he's the highest testosterone ever kind of thing.
Well, we'll see if Pete Hegseth tests him as well.
They should draft him. Let's go to Kara in Westford. Hey, Kara, what's up?
Hi.
Hi. This is where you start talking.
I wanted to call in because I was just listening to John from Westford share his wondering about why we even need mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
And I wanted to let John know that I'm one of your town members. I also live in Westford. And in the last presidential election, I had just a couple-month-old baby, and I was a breastfeeding mom. And it was very challenging for me to get to an in-person voting station because I would have to bring my baby. We wouldn't necessarily have nursing support when I was there, but a mail-in ballot was a way for me to participate in the election, and I really appreciate them.
You know, that's a great point. Someone with a new baby is a good one, but there's a lot of rural states out in the West where you read these stories about how it's far. They're not going down the street to their local school.
And there's some older people who can't get to the polls. And by the way, the reason Trump voted by mail is he's apparently fairly busy. Busy people occasionally can't get to a polling place on election day. So I think those are all good responses. Kara, thanks for the call. If you ever meet John, let us know. 877-301-8970.
You know, we played a little bit of Trump speaking last night, and people were talking about how he sounded older. We have a 2016 piece that we're going to wait for Sue. Yeah, to talk the difference in the way he sounded 10 years ago and the way he sounds now. This is when he was disparaging using teleprompters. Obviously, he's changed his mind about the teleprompter. But anyway, here he is in 2016.
Every speech I make has to be live. I mean, nobody else... You know, the other guys, they speak and they give the same speech over and over and over. They read it. They have teleprompters. For 200 people, they'll have a teleprompter. I don't use teleprompters. You know what I use? I don't use teleprompters. I don't use teleprompters.
Nope.
We have a president that uses teleprompters. Believe me, I don't use teleprompters.
Let me tell you, that was one of the most important speeches I think any president... That was brilliant. And that was
2016
and important.
When he beat Hillary Clinton. Let's go to Steve in New Hampshire. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
We're good, thank you.
Good. I want to talk about the coverage or lack thereof.
Yep.
And my concern is that by not showing it and having the next, in other words, it's not newsworthy enough for us to cover, but the next day we're going to analyze it and tell you what you should have heard. It seems like you're saying to your consumers, don't listen, let us interpret, and we're going to give you what we think. I don't know if it's newsworthy, then covered. If it's not, then why are we having an entire segment on it?
I'll tell you why. That's a very good question, is because the ability to stay on pace with the relentless lying when Trump speaks is a task that virtually no one has been able to meet. And I think if later that night or the next day, one plays excerpts and they're fairly chosen, and then one comments on the content and the veracity, you've met your obligation to the public. And Steve, if I can correct one thing, if you were directing it at us, we didn't tell anybody not to watch. In fact, we watched. If people chose to watch last night, of course they should watch. I'm just saying that networks decided, a la what I said to you, that it was probably an irresponsible thing to air it live.
The reason networks, they gave their explanation was that they weren't going to run a purely political speech. And in their estimation, this was a purely political speech. And I remember there was a time when Biden wanted to do something during his term that was deemed purely political, and they didn't run it either. And a lot of the Biden people were mad about that.
Well, I've heard, I hear that. I believe, Steve, thanks for the call. I accept that, but I think the issue is also the deceit in most of his speeches. If you just play it for whatever it was, 20 minutes last night, it's a real problem. But if you pick excerpts fairly, I think you've done your job.
It was a Joe Biden 2022 speech in Philadelphia about MAGA threats to democracy, and they declined to show the speech, which aggravated the Biden White House. So it's not unprecedented.
You know, Chuck made an interesting point, though, yesterday. Chuck, I happen to agree with him on this. He said it was a close question as to whether or not it should be aired. And he said one of the reasons why he might, and obviously he was part of the decision when he was at NBC News, is because I wasn't aware of, or at least I didn't remember this. Trump has sought free time very rarely for primetime speeches, which is odd considering how much he likes being listened to. And that's an argument maybe for bending a little bit in that direction, but I think they made the right choice.
And they did have they did play it in their streaming services at ABC and NBC, so it was certainly available if you wanted to watch it.
Who subscribes to that? Do you subscribe to that?
I get CNN's app.
Why is that, Marjorie?
Because my daughter works there.
Okay.
I'm supporting
How many
the new
people
app.
in the audience subscribe to an app of a broadcast television station? Can you raise your hand? I'm just curious.
There's some people. No, okay, there's some people.
3.
I hope it's CNN.
That's not some people.
She just got the job. She'd like to keep it for a while longer.
Yeah, support Marjorie's daughter.
That's right.
Subscribe to the CNN app.
Yeah, that's what she does. She's
love that.
doing the streaming service at
At least
CNN.
you're honest.
Okay. Well, she used to work for the New York Times. That was a good job, too. Okay, we are out of time. Coming up after this, I'm very proud of her, Jim. Former Public Safety Secretary Andrea Cabral joins to discuss the quiet and not so quiet escalation ICE arrests, and she's going to detail the horrific, violent history of the ICE agent who shot and killed the 25-year-old Colombian national who had a work permit in the United States of America and was on his way to work legally. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browder. You're listening to BPR, GBH, and NEPM, live from the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
More than 1,500 soldiers once filled Harvard Yard, turning classrooms into barracks. But while the revolution was brewing, most students stuck to studying.
The morning would be spent in recitation. They're not getting radicalized.
I'm Kirk Carapezza. As part of GBH News' series From Colony to Commonwealth, we explore what colonial campuses were really like during America's founding on the latest episode of College Uncovered. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Brighton Farmers Market, Wednesday afternoons from 1:30 to 6:30 on Brighton Common in Boston, June through October, featuring a variety of local foods, farm fresh produce, children's activities, and live music.
And the Boston Symphony Orchestra, presenting concerts at Tanglewood all summer long. Highlights include the BSO and Pops, classical soloists, and the Popular Artist Series. More at tanglewood.org.
Welcome back to BPR and GBH and NEPM. Marjorie Egan and Jim Browder. We're live at the library streaming. Thank you all. Streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. Live music, wonderful live music in about 20 minutes. We're joined now on Zoom by Andrea Cabral, former Public Safety Secretary of Massachusetts, former Sheriff of Suffolk County, and a BPR contributor. Hello, Andrea. Hi.
So, Andrea, we're just talking about the president's speech last night, and I would ask you what you thought of it, but I'm not sure that you even watched it. Did you spare yourself the pain, or did you watch?
I think you guys both know I didn't watch it. But it makes no sense. I think just in abundance of sanity and intelligence and common sense, it makes no sense to me to watch the speech of someone who you know is going to just lie. I don't think any of the network should carry it. I understand the point of it. It's the office of the President of the United States.
Hey, Andrea, I got to interrupt you. This is a bad connection.
Yeah,
I think we're going to call you on the phone or something. So sit tight for a second, and we'll continue hopefully in about 30 seconds. We're talking to Andrea Cabral. We knew. Didn't you know that she was going to choose?
For her mental health, she chose not to watch
Well, it's not
it.
just mental health. I mean, she said a minute ago. I mean, I respect that perspective. Ours is different, that if you know he's not going to tell the truth, then what's the point of spending your time listening to this crap? And I hear that.
While we're waiting for Andrea, I can detail the background of this ICE officer in Maine.
You could do that. I think she'll be with us by in about 15 seconds, but sure, yeah.
Yeah, this is an incredible story by the Associated Press. The young man, Joan Guerrero, that was killed, the Colombian national, shot and killed, 25 years old. The ICE guy who shot him, from his first ex-wife and his second ex-wife, talk about how they've both been harassed, the children harassed. One daughter was dragged around the house as she was crying. He was diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder. He was attempted suicide twice. He had some obvious mental health issues which were not dealt with correctly. He went to Afghanistan, and things got worse over there. I don't know how he got into the Army. The first time he tried, apparently, he was rejected for his mental health history, but then he later got in. According to his ex-wife, he once threw boiling water at her while she was holding her child, and again, had been violent with the children of this marriage and the children of the second marriage, and this all began when she got pregnant. So often happens in violent situations when she became pregnant. So
how long has he worked there? How long? Is it a decade? Is that what I can't remember. I read that last night.
I think it might be a decade. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I guess if you have this kind of history and it's untreated, how the heck do you get to be on the street with a weapon? Pulling people
well,
over.
you have to care about vetting, I assume. If you are turned off by the notion that a law enforcement person could have serious, dangerous mental health issues that obviously need addressing. By the way, we're in the midst of a conversation with Andrea Cabral. We had a Zoom problem. We're trying to get her on the phone. She will rejoin us in a couple of seconds. Speaking about one of the things we're going to broach with her in a minute, I mentioned this in passing yesterday. One of the really heartening things that is happening on the violence from ICE front is, which is getting almost no play, is we've been complaining, as I assume everybody in Minnesota has been, that the feds refused to share any of the evidence they had in the killings of Alex Preddy or Renee Good is part of a trade because the feds wanted some information that the locals had on the one guy they have charged with filing false reports and that sort of thing. They made a trade and they handed over evidence to the Hennepin County attorney, who we're hoping to have on the show with us next week, which seems to me, we'll ask Andrea this if we ever get her back, seems to me to put them in a position where they potentially could criminally prosecute those responsible for the shootings if they determine that they were criminal in nature, you know?
Well, speaking back to the Maine situation, apparently when the ICE officer told his first ex-wife that he'd been hired by ICE, she thought it was a joke, that because of his long history of violence. And there's all this is in the court records, apparently, in Augusta District Court about the domestic violence stuff against the two wives and the children. She thought she couldn't believe that they would have let him in because of this long history. So it does.
That's almost exactly like Pete Hegseth's mother couldn't believe he could be the Secretary of Defense after the way he had treated every woman in his life. But obviously that is so. We are waiting again to reconnect with Andrea Cabral. If it doesn't happen in a minute, we'll just talk about the things that we intended to talk to her about, including what do you think of the fact that Janet Mills, who is the current governor, was a candidate for Senate briefly, was crushed by Graham Plattner, so is finishing out her term. She went to the site where Guerrero was killed in an attempt to pay tribute, and she was basically chased out of there by people yelling that she hadn't done enough to protect the people of Maine against the excesses of ICE. What do you think of that?
Well, to tell you the truth, Jim, I don't know enough about what she's done as the governor to protect the people of Maine from the excesses of ICE. It certainly seemed the people that were there were really mad at her. I think a couple of people even threw things at her car. It was a very hostile reception to her. So maybe she merited that kind of thing. It didn't seem, from what I've read, that she did merit that kind of thing. What do you think?
Well, I don't know enough either, but what I do know, what's interesting is she did sort of 3/4 of what you were talking, I think, to Chuck Todd about, or somebody in the last couple of days. She said after that she thought that ICE should be defunded, but she went out of her way to say in the same sentence and reformulated, basically be rebuilt from the ground up. And while you and I have both said that's dangerous because often people will just pick the first half of the sentence, the defunding part, which is not something most Americans suggest. Oh, good, we're not connecting with Andrea. So she may return. She may not return.
Well, there are a couple of other great stories involving that we're going to talk about with Andrea that we could talk about
like what?
Between ourselves. Well, the president is promoting stocks on Truth Social right after he buys the stocks. So,
yeah, but he doesn't know, he says, what he's buying. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. What he's buying. So he claimed he doesn't know. And then, as you say, coincidentally, he starts promoting these companies on Truth Social so that the stock goes up. And so he makes money. This is a story from CNN. President Trump hopped on Truth Social last year to share some, quote, very big and exciting news. NVIDIA, the computer chip manufacturing behemoth, had just announced plans. Behemoth had just announced plans to buy AI supercomputers in the United States. And he said how great it was. All the necessary permits will be expedited. What the president did not disclose at the time was that days earlier he'd purchased between $200,000 and $500,000 of the company's stock. And a CNN investigation has found that Trump has promoted more than 20 companies in his Truth Social account right after he bought stocks in those companies.
Both last night on CNN when this was being discussed, and it was their, as you say, their reporting, Jeffrey Toobin, who other than that one, I don't mean to dismiss this, other than that one moment where he was, let's put it this way, behaved wildly and inappropriately on a
you want to tell people
Zoom
what he
call.
did?
I think most people know what he did. It's not something you should be doing anywhere with other people watching, I would say. Okay, and he did that. He's a really smart guy, you would agree? And what was really troubling, I'm not questioning what he said, I assumed this had to be illegal. I didn't know what, and his contention
kind of
was...
like an insider trading backwards
or something. I mean, and obviously Trump says he has no idea what his investment people are investing in. It's not a blind trust like almost every other Republican and Democratic president in the last half century before him. But allegedly he doesn't know what investments are made. But the coincidence, in quotes, is so intense and intimate that he happens to be promoting that I assume to be criminal. And Toobin's response to the question, maybe it was to John King sitting in for Anderson Cooper or somebody last night, was not that it was not a crime because of the immunity that was granted to the president by this rogue Supreme Court, but there was probably not a crime at all. So this guy is say it again. He buys stocks that he allegedly doesn't know.
Yep.
Coincidentally,
more than 20 times.
He then posts on Truth Social about the same stocks that he's unaware of, fabulous the companies are. What does that do? It drives up the price of the stock because not only he's promoting it, but there are a lot of people who anything he says, true or not, glom onto it. And so, and it's apparently, I wouldn't say perfectly legal, it's not illegal.
Well, as the CNN investigation found, unlike most past presidents, Trump has not placed his assets in a blind trust, meaning he can know which stocks his money managers are buying or selling, but it's not clear whether, as you said, he was aware of any of his purchases when he was posting about the company. Says Dan Greenberg, a senior legal fellow at the Libertarian Cato Institute, which is a pretty conservative, would you say Cato's kind of right-wing?
Conservative leaning, but Noel, it's conservative leaning.
Conservative leaning. Well, you would think he would be a Trump supporter, but he called this an ethics disaster. So, it's I don't know what to make of it. I mean, between what's going on...
What do you mean you don't know what to make of it?
What's going on... It's small potatoes compared to what's going on with his two sons. They're investing in all these rare mineral companies that Trump has made it possible for him to invest in because of the agreements they've made.
Yeah, well,
Jared Kushner is making all these deals overseas. That's Ivanka's husband with...
how's Albania's and how's that resort going in Albania?
Well, I don't know how that resort is going in Albania, but people may know that I guess Jared and Ivanka were boating. They were in a
Happened to
big
be
yacht.
swimming
They were
and-
on a big yacht, and they happened to spot this beautiful, beautiful island in Albania, pristine. You know, it's kind of a place where a lot of animals thrive, and very, very undeveloped. And she decided it'd be a great place for, I think, more than 10,000 condos or apartments or hotel rooms or something to go in a big
And a
resort.
casino.
And for days and days and days, the Albanians were out in the street protesting and saying they didn't want this to happen. But the Prime Minister of Albania seemed to be in Trump's
Well,
camp.
I wonder why.
Well, we think that there may have been some monetary persuasion coming from the president. Is that
So
what we
let
think?
me, since you brought up the protests,
Yeah.
almost every time I am critical of our fellow citizens in this country for failure to rise up when the most dramatically excessive things are done by some of our leaders, and you criticize me saying they're doing a lot of good things. The people of Albania, I think in the tens of thousands,
It was
were
unbelievable.
protesting
Yeah.
nonstop over a piece of land that they thought was going to be destroyed. I'm not saying it's insignificant, but it pales next to an effort to overthrow a democracy. So how do you feel about the Albanians taking to the streets versus our fellow citizens and residents taking to nothing?
I don't know, Jim. You always lose on this when people get upset and say
How
that
do you
they
feel?
are doing things. I think at some point, I mean, we have taken to the streets, but maybe we need to take to the streets more. It's very frustrating. I hope that...
Yeah, we take to the streets to go to Starbucks.
Yeah,
is
we
what
don't.
take
We
to the
had
streets
some
for.
big protests. I want to mention one more Truth Social thing, though.
Please.
We're going to talk about this again with Sue, but we just finished talking about how Trump buys these... invests in these companies, 200,000, 500,000, whatever
Doesn't
you
know
invest,
anything about it.
and then he promotes them so that their stock goes up
Just
and he
a
makes a lot of money.
coincidence.
Meanwhile, he plans to sell priority access to Truth Social posts. So what they would do is charge for special high-speed access to Truth Social posts, and that would mean that Wall Street trading firms and other institutions would get, they could subscribe to this. They could get news of these top Truth Social contributions in milliseconds, and then they could profit off subsequent
Before
moves.
the rest of the world
That's
knows.
right.
And
In-
by the way, if
in
they
stocks
spend
and bonds.
money to get a financial advantage, who gets the money?
He does.
Donald Trump. So it
So
is
if you wanna-
Truth Social is not. He is Truth Social for
He is
all
Truth Social.
intents and
It's kind of like a
purposes.
legalized insider trading. So you buy the special access to Truth Social, you get it by everybody else, and then you buy whatever stock he's promoting, and before everybody else has a chance to know, and your stock can like skyrocket before everybody else even
But can
realizes.
I say one thing about this?
What?
It's all a coincidence. That's all. Everything is a coincidence, and it
Somebody
is
just
not
texted
intentional.
and said Martha Stewart must really be ticked off.
Well, 'cause
People
the
may
insider
know.
tra-
Yeah, Martha Stewart went to jail for 5 months for something involving insider
She
trading.
didn't go for
I think
insider.
she
She went for
lied.
lying
She
about
lied.
it,
She
yeah.
lied about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she did.
And you know what?
What?
Martha didn't complain.
She also
Martha
was
went-
very helpful to other
She
inmates,
did the time.
by the way. She did a lot of
she
work.
taught
with-
people how to make origami little birds when she was in prison. She
I can
taught
do
them how to
origami.
massage the melons that she grew at Turkey Farm down in Connecticut. She had cooking classes. She did quite a bit when she was in prison. And you know what?
What?
She's like 80-something, and
She
she's
is
still
not
going
like
strong.
80-something. She is 80-something.
Yeah, and she's going strong. There was a whole special about her on television.
Okay, what do you think of Andrea's performance in this segment?
I
today?
thought
You
Andrea
had to
is
rate it
usual.
on a scale
oh,
of, I
the
don't know.
last thing we didn't mention that we're
keep
going
talking,
to ask
sure,
Andrea
what?
is that Mark Wayne Mullen, the guy with two names, is now used to be a senator, and now he's running DHS.
Not two names. Mark Wayne is his name.
Yeah, it's an odd thing, Mark
It's
Wayne
odd, but he's
Mullen,
from Oklahoma.
It's this thing they do, I guess, out west, give you
They
two
do.
first names. But in any case, he decided, rightly, correct, that after this debacle in Maine, followed by the debacle in Houston, when two people, the wrong people, were gunned down, that they should put a halt on these traffic
yeah,
stops.
yeah.
And then what happened?
Trump, we said this. Trump said he would like. He didn't order the reversal. I don't know if I guess he has the power. He strongly urged DHS, Department of Homeland Security, to reinstate, and said in his line, by the way, this is one day after this young man is killed in Biddeford, Maine, that he, in capital letters on Truth Social, ICE is doing a great job. And even if you thought that, yet again, another example of the crassest lack of empathy of any leader, at least I can remember in our lifetimes.
Okay, I want to point out that Nicole, our former producer who called to say how good the show was, apparently,
She just called back?
Just called back.
What'd she say?
And
Not
said,
so good?
Said, we're pretty bad.
Okay, fine. Any case, sorry about the Andrea connection being lost. We'll talk to her next week.
But coming up after this quick break, we're going to hear some incredible music. The Lowell Folk Fest kicks off next weekend. We're going to be joined here at the library by Lee Viliesis, the festival organizer, and we're going to hear this incredible act playing the cuatro. We're going to hear about what the cuatro is from Emmy Award-winning Fabiola Méndez, who has performed with Bad Bunny. She's going to tell us about that as well. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. Listening to BPR, GBH, and NEPM live from the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
I'm Callie Crossley. Today on The Culture Show, one of literature's great journeys becomes this weekend's biggest movie as Christopher Nolan brings the Odyssey to the big screen. And Catcher in the Rye turns 75. Why does Holden Caulfield's loneliness, rebellion, and contempt for phonies still endure? Then Madonna, Shakira, and BTS headline the World Cup Finals' first halftime show. We take on that and more on our Weekend Review today at 2 on 89.7 GBH.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And South Coast Artists, presenting its 23rd annual Open Studio Tour July 18th and 19th in Tiverton and Little Compton, Rhode Island, and Dartmouth and Westport, Massachusetts. Tour brochure downloads available at southcoastartists.org. And Mass General Brigham Health Plan, providing helpful digital tools, world-class providers, and coverage that help you live in the moment. More at massgeneralbrighamhealthplan.org.
Welcome back to BPR and GBH and NEPM. Marjorie Egan, Jim Browdy, live at the library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. You made it through another week, and so Live Music Friday is here to uplift you. This week, we'll hear from somebody who's been here a bunch of times, Fabiola Méndez, an Emmy-nominated educator, songwriter, instrumentalist, the first person to graduate from Berkeley with the principal instrument being the cuatro. We'll talk about that again when she joins us, a traditional Puerto Rican instrument. On her incredibly long and accomplished resume is one particular thing that Marjorie mentioned that really stood out to us, collaborating with somebody you may have heard of, Bad Bunny, for an NPR Tiny Desk concert. Okay, there was going to be sound from that, but obviously that's not working either. Luckily, the show is over in an hour and 12 minutes, so we'll be able to get by this. She is joining us, that'd be Fabiola, not Bad Bunny, to give us a sneak peek of her performance at the Lowell Folk Festival, which kicks off next weekend. We'll also be speaking with Lowell Folk Festival director Lee Viliesis in just a couple of minutes. For information about next weekend's festival, go to lowellfolkfestival.org or FabiolaMéndezmusic.com. But first, we're going to hear from her performing Cerise Chareo. Oh, my goodness.
Very
Fabiola,
good.
it's great
Very
to see
good,
you.
Jim.
Welcome.
va amarrada a las raíces que comparten los países de la América Latina. Su estirpe por femenina es capaz de florecer. Tiene mañana y ayer, historia viva del sueño del cuatro puertorriqueño y la voz de una mujer, del cuatro puertorriqueño y la voz de una mujer.
Fabiola Méndez, come join us. By the way, in case the technical problems continue, I will play the part of Fabiola, and Marjorie will be Lee. In case it doesn't work, you got to put a headset on there, Fabiola,
well, actually,
if you don't mind.
We can play that. We're going to try for the Bad Bunny sound again in a second.
We are?
Yeah, I think we're going to get
Easy
it right
for
the
you to say.
second time around. But first, Fabiola, tell us what you just played. Tell us about that
You got
song.
to put a headset on, Fabiola, if you don't mind. While she's doing that, this is good. This show's, I think, very smooth. Very smooth so far, yeah?
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
That was
Hi,
great.
y'all.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
That was
really
fantastic.
That song is called Seis Chorreao. It's a tradition.
You have told us every time you hear about the cuatro, which you started playing when you're 6.
That's right.
And I'm sure you've explained this, but in case you haven't, cuatro, I assume, had something to do with 4 strings.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at your cuatro, and it appears like there are 5 strings.
Yes.
So why is it not like a quinto or something like that?
Yeah, like a cinco or a diez,
cinco,
because they're
okay,
double
fine.
strings.
Okay.
Well, actually, the cuatro from Puerto Rico is a traditional instrument, our national instrument, and its origins come from the mountainside. And the instrument originally had 4 strings. So no one was going to complicate themselves as to how do we call this instrument. It's like, okay, how many strings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, cuatro. But as the instrument evolved, the amount of strings, the shape of it evolved. And now the modern cuatros are 5 pairs of strings, and no one wanted to change the name. It's like, we all call it cuatro, let's just keep calling it cuatro.
Was there any resistance at Berkeley since you were the first, as I said? I'm serious. Was there any resistance to this being
Quite
your
the
principal
opposite,
interest?
actually.
Oh, really?
The fact that it's such a native, unique sounding instrument was very interesting to a lot of folks, and it made me fall in love again with my instrument. Because back home, you're kind of used to it, and the traditions. Sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, I hear that cuatro all the time," and then coming here and having people be like, "Wow, that's amazing!" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it is amazing."
It is amazing. It's beautiful.
Okay, before we get to Lee to hear all about the festival, we're going to try for this Fabiola sound again with you and Bad Bunny. When was this from, Jim? This is you guys in front of you?
2024, was
2024.
it not? I think, yeah.
25.
The solo
25?
during
Yeah.
Bad
25.
Bunny's Tiny Desk concert. Here it is. How was that?
That was really fun.
Yeah.
It was one of those opportunities that you, as a traditional musician, you don't really think you're going to get to play with like pop stars or anything like that. But the fact that his most recent album is celebrating a lot of the traditions of Puerto Rican music, it made sense that, he would have some of the cuatristas, as we call ourselves, some of my colleagues and myself, and then traditional drummers playing bomba and plena, and it was super fun. And to learn all of these songs, that a lot of them are, like with synthesizers and all of these electronic instruments, and having to transcribe that and learn it on the cuatro was hard. Like some of the scales and some of the things are like, oh, I have to play this on the cuatro now.
How did he treat you, by the way? I mean, you're wildly accomplished, but he's like one of the most acclaimed people on the planet. How did he treat the people around him like you?
Like friends.
Did he really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's great to
and
hear,
we,
actually.
we rehearsed together,
That's
we
great.
hung out. It was just like this beautiful, we're creating together. It was nothing like, oh, I'm a star and you guys are like accompanying me. And so I think that the fact that he's so successful is a lot has to do with the fact that he's very humble and he kind of carries his community with him.
So Lee, do you have any Bad Bunny stories you can share with us?
I have a couple of celebrities, but nothing quite to that level.
So 39th, is it 39th?
39th.
Tell us about it for those unfamiliar.
So if you've never been up to Lowell, the Lowell Folk Festival is part of the National Folk Festival tradition. We have 4 stages plus a family stage, which is new this year. And we do 4 days from Friday at the kickoff of the parade is at 5:45. And we have this beautiful parade of nations with something like 40 flags representing all the countries of people who are residents of Lowell. And they parade across the stage. We kick off. We have the dance tent starts at about 7, and it goes till 10 o'clock at night. Saturday we do it again from noon to 10, and then Sunday noon to 6. And we've been doing it. We were the first residency city of the National Folk Festival after their long stint at Wolf Trap in Virginia. They came and they did 3 years in Lowell, and brought all these amazing traditional music artists, because we are far more, as you heard from Fabiola, we are far more than traditional Americana folk that you are traditionally associate with the 60s and 70s folk music revival. We are global music that represents the cultural heritage of everyone in this country and on this planet. And we've been doing it ever since. They left, and in 91 we took over and be renamed as the Lowell Folk Festival, and we've been doing it consistently every year except COVID.
I was reading about you guys this morning. You talk about how you got these poets from the high school. They're going to come and the Lowell Chess Club. And then this list of countries that are going to have food there. Greek food, Filipino, Hispanic, Jamaican, Polish, Portuguese, Middle Eastern, Indian, Armenian, Laotian, Liberian, Burmese, Cameroon, and African culinary traditions. I mean, that's a lot of food to choose from.
It's that's actually, I'm not gonna lie, that's one of my favorite parts of the folk festival, right? The music is incredible, and the performances are all day, and in every corner we have incredible workshops. But I don't know if you can see me, but I am a body built by food. And the cuisine traditions in Lowell are incredible. And so each of our 22 food groups, 2 of which are new this year, represent a cultural, religious, or community groups, so schools, church groups, veteran centers, all of them are represented, and they use the folk festival as their primary fundraiser for the year. So
what do the performances cost?
Oh, I mean the whole budget.
No, I don't mean your budget. For someone to come and watch the music.
Oh,
Can't believe you left this out.
It's free.
Of course it's free. And there's stuff for kids.
Of course it's free.
That is huge.
And special stuff for kids. So if you got kids, what are the special things for kids?
So we partners with this Discovery Museum of Acton.
Neat.
And
that's
we
a great
have
place.
15 groups that do all sorts of different activities along our main stretch of Merrimack Street, from the chess club to little kid STEM activities. We have our play space stage, which is going to feature our Taekwondo dojo and one of our local beatbox / break dance / hip hop artist groups from the college.
This is exhausting listening to this.
It's quite a huge experience.
When are you
I'm
playing?
going to be playing all 3 days.
All 3 days. Have you done this before?
No, this is my first time playing at the Lowell Folk Festival.
As a viewer, as a consumer, festivals where there's all kinds of music and food and are spectacular. How does it feel as a performer when you're surrounded by lots of views doing no, I'm serious, doing all different kinds of wonderful stuff?
It is amazing because sometimes you, as a musician, sometimes you're kind of in your bubble of like doing shows and being part of a festival in which you get to also connect with so many other artists in between breaks. And even like as we get set up on a stage, we're watching the group that's performing prior to us, and it's just really amazing and inspiring to connect with so many different talents and also music genres.
You know, that instrument is beautiful, by the way. I mean, in addition to how it sounds and how beautifully you play it, it really is a beautiful, beautiful instrument.
You don't just need to think about how way back when we weren't all so connected in countries and people lived far apart because you couldn't travel and stuff, how people came up with their instruments in different places. You know, why 4 strings in Puerto Rico, even though you say you got 5 strings now,
right.
And why a different sort of configuration of a guitar someplace else. You know, it's fascinating. Fascinating to
It
think
is
about
fascinating, and it's all connected to the same root, which is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
It's like we speak different languages, we're in different parts of the world, but it's all connected to the same basic concept of plucking a string.
Yeah,
right?
plucking a string,
and
exactly.
just like singing your heart out.
Speaking of singing your heart out, you have to go sing your heart out. What is this? What are you playing?
I'm going to play an original song entitled Canción de Amor.
Okay, great. Fabiola is going to return to the mic. Tell us one more time when it is, how to get there. Tell us everything we got to know for this for the weekend.
Well, most importantly, it's free, right? So come to the largest free folk festival in the country. It is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend, the 24th, 25th, 26th of July. It is always the last weekend of July, last full weekend of July. So if you can't make it this year, come next year. We're having our big 40th celebration. But yeah, come check out Lowell. Lowell's an amazing city to come visit.
They have done a great job
And,
up in Lowell with the old mills and the waterways and all that. It's really great.
Yeah, it is an artistic and cultural experience to come to Lowell, and it is really on display during the folk festival. It's amazing.
Okay, Fabiola, you're up again. Can't wait to hear Fabiola Méndez.
Canción de amor pa'l que se fue, pa'l que tiene que ocultar su soledad. Esto es una canción pa' quienes sueñan, que buscan más allá del fin del mar. Esto es una canción de amor pa'l que se fue a encontrar en sus memorias el andar, el recuerdo de los viejos y su sabiduría. No hay destino sin caminar. Esto es como un sobo, abuela, olor a recao recién picao, el abrazo de mi tierra que me da la bendición. Buscarse en otros nidos y sembrar, pa'l que ha visto su cosecha y a los que a diario luchan, a ellos dedico mi cantar. Esto es como un sobo, abuela, olor a recao recién picao, el abrazo de mi tierra que me da la bendición. Esto es como un sobo, abuela, olor a recao recién picao, el abrazo de mi tierra que me da la bendición.
Beautiful. Fabiola Méndez. Really beautiful.
One more time, we have been listening to Fabiola Méndez, who'll perform at the Lowell Folk Festival next weekend. It's free, July 24th to 26th. For more information about a fantastic time up there, go to lowellfolkfestival.org. or FabiolaMendezMusic.com. Thank you so much for coming in. We say goodbye to those of you listening on NEPM. We're going to keep going here in Boston. After this quick break, 2 local leaders helping with the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela after the deadly earthquake there. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy. This is BPR, GBH, and NEPM live from the Boston Public Library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
Do your part to support the programs you love by becoming a GBH Sustainer. Sustainers make easy monthly donations that keep the news you trust on the air, month after month, year after year. Enrolling is simple at gbh.org/sustainer.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And Harvard Business School Baker Library, featuring an exhibit on Muriel Siebert, the first woman to buy a seat on the New York Stock Exchange, open to the public. Details at library.hbs.edu.
And New England Recovery Center, providing inpatient addiction treatment in state-of-the-art facilities located in Westboro, Mass. Learn more at newenglandrecoverycenter.org or by calling 1-877-MY-REHAB.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
Welcome to hour number 2 of Boston Public Radio, 89.7 GBH. We are broadcasting live from the Boston Public Library. Jim Browdy and Marjorie Egan, and we are streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. Hello again, Jim.
Hello again, Marjorie. We're joined now at the library by Ciro Valiente, Manager of Marketing and Communications at Latinos for Education. You've also seen him on a ton of other things in his former life. And Zamawa Arenas, co-chair of the Latino Equity Fund at the Boston Foundation. They're both of Venezuelan heritage, have been providing aid to local Venezuelans in the aftermath of the horrible earthquake several weeks ago. Go to tbf.org/Venezuela. Welcome to you both. Really glad you're here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So I think we're 23 days out from this earthquake, 4,829 dead, more than 16,000 injured. What's going on down there at 23 days out?
Yeah, and this is the worst natural disaster Venezuela has experienced in generations. Thousands of people lost loved ones or lost their homes or their businesses or everything. But in the middle of the tragedy, the most important thing is that we have also witnessed extraordinary people helping Venezuelans. People here from Massachusetts coming together to help complete strangers. Thousands of miles away, and that's something that we are going to always...
So before we talk about the relief efforts and what people can do to help, can you describe a little more? Again, it is 3+ weeks out. Obviously, we know there was a government that was pretty unstable under Maduro. Everybody knows what happened to Maduro. His vice president is there, but we read in the New York Times, Marco Rubio is essentially the president of Venezuela in ways that are incredible. What is the state of affairs 3.5 weeks in?
Well, thank you for having us,
Oh,
first
of course.
of all. And thank you, Marjorie. So the situation is evolving daily, and there's been a lot of frustration locally in terms of the response of the local government. And that's not just said by people on the ground, but also by reporters that are coming in from BBC, AP, and Reuters, that the response was very slow and not enough. And so it's been really a struggle because people are really working on their own with their bare hands trying to rescue their loved ones. And actually this is very personal because my nephew, who's 29 years old, who I love as my son, is volunteering. And he's out there helping families try to recover their loved ones from mountains of concrete rubble.
I happen to know your parents are there too. How are they, and how are people who you're connected to back in Venezuela doing?
Well, I feel very fortunate because my family is safe and they are hanging in there, but there have been 1,200 aftershocks. So just imagine being at home and constantly having your house shake. And so there's a lot of fear, a lot of emotional, psychological trauma that people are still experiencing, even after they survived the earthquake. So it's been hard. My parents are also ill, so that also adds another layer of complication. But we're very grateful that all of the people that I know have survived, but we grieve for those families who've lost their loved ones.
What is before you go ahead, what does your nephew say about the efforts that he's involved? I don't mean about his own role, but what does he say about how the efforts are going?
Well, he says that there's a lot of energy and strength from the Venezuelan people really working hard to dig through these mountains of rubble with their own equipment, with their own hands, and the need for more support in terms of bigger machinery and more crews to help with the work. A lot of the international rescue teams have left by now, so it's really up to the locals and some of the rescue teams that are still there to continue the work.
You know, I was just going to, you know how they always measure earthquakes? I mean, this one was a particularly massive one.
There were 2 right in a row.
Yeah, and then the aftershocks that you mentioned, but I don't know, and I should know, but a place like California, they have so many earthquakes there that they're really built to withstand a lot of high velocity earthquakes. But I don't know if that's true in Venezuela. I don't think so.
No.
No.
The last earthquake, I remember it was decades ago.
Yeah.
In the west part of Venezuela, and I believe 60 years ago, another earthquake similar to this one in Caracas as well. But
do you have family there?
I do.
And how are they doing?
They are doing well. I have some family members who lost their homes, but they are alive, and that's the most important.
I know you started a second ago, Ciro, to talk about how wonderful real people have been, and we'll obviously talk about that and talk about what more real people listening today and watching today can do. But what I said before was not an exaggeration. A story in the New York Times says the former vice president, now is, I don't know if she's acting president or Rodriguez, literally does not put out a press release without texting it to Marco Rubio to make sure, at least according to the New York Times, that it's okay for her to put out this release. So if the United States appears to be the de facto leaders through Rubio, is the United States as a government, not its people, doing as much as it needs to do to help the people of Venezuela?
Yeah, there is not a secret that even in Venezuela, the government took a few days to get to those places where people were more affected. And you could see organized community members organizing themselves by themselves without any tools, trying to help their family members, their neighbors, and trying to save life.
You know, Ciro, one of the reasons you're here, I think one of the major reasons you came to the United States is because under the government there, speaking of the government there, you were kidnapped not once but twice. So tell us what happened.
Yeah, that was a tragedy that I have been trying to forget and starting a new life. But when those things like this happen, it's always coming back. Fortunately, I received a second opportunity to be alive, and I came here to Boston, and that's why I love this country so much.
But why were you targeted?
Two things. I am a journalist by profession, and I was denouncing one of the members of the government during some protests in 2 years, in 2012 and 2014, and that's why I got kidnapped.
So to intimidate journalists that were really doing
Absolutely.
their job, that is
and
why.
that's still happening.
Yeah.
And that's still happening.
Ciro said he tries to forget it. That's why Marjorie brought it up. Okay, so Zamawa, I want to get back to the issue. This is not an effort to beat up on the administration. It's an effort to understand who's doing what. If the government there is essentially this government taking over, for lack of a better expression, obviously in the first few days they didn't act. Are they now? Whether it's Venezuela or the United States through the Venezuela government and Rodriguez, are they doing what governments should be doing or no?
Well, I think they're doing some work, but there's still a lot that can be done. The U.S. government has allocated about $300 million to Venezuela, and apparently those monies have been deployed. There are about 900 U.S. personnel serving in the country. Okay. So they're helping with relief efforts, with construction. As you may know, the major airport in La Guaira collapsed, so there are no commercial flights coming into Venezuela through the main airport. So they're working to help recover that airport. And also, they've lifted some of the sanctions so that money can flow more easily into Venezuela. So there are some things that they've done that, putting politics aside and government aside, are helping people on the ground. Can they do more? Absolutely.
What's the size of the Venezuelan or Venezuelan American community in Massachusetts?
There's about 12,000 of us here in the region, and Ciro's association, the Venezuelan American Association of Massachusetts, has provided a lot of support and coordination.
Well, tell us about that support and coordination. What have you been doing?
Yeah, we have been coordinating with first responders, volunteers on the ground, even doctors who travel 16 hours to come to La Guaira. And the first call we received, they were arriving to La Guaira. Some children had high fever and diarrhea. And instead of go to rest, they went to take care of those people. Those are kind of the help that we have been doing. We have delivered food. And also today, in Somerville, we have 2 trucks with humanitarian supplies. Thank you to Amazon coming from here to Miami and then to Venezuela.
They're transporting Amazon
from here to Miami, 2 trucks.
On them? They're paying? That's terrific.
That's a partnership that we are very grateful.
What are the greatest needs? Is it medicine, food, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we have been discussing. It's changing every time, but we can say right now health and children.
So people who are listening, what should they do? Who's reliable for them if they want to donate funds to help people in Venezuela? Where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah, we have been creating. Go ahead.
Sure. Let me talk about the Massachusetts United for Venezuela Fund that we launched at the Latino Equity Fund at the Boston Foundation in collaboration and partnership with Ciro's Association and many others, Casa Venezuela New England, and small business owners and restaurant owners who are Venezuelan. And we've been able to build the fund up with an initial seed capital of the Latino Equity Fund and TBF of $40,000. And there's a lot of grassroots efforts. So we as Latino Equity Fund have the platform to help with the fundraising. And the Boston Foundation has done this before. They did a fund similar to this in Haiti, and then they did one similar to this to help in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. So we're using the same model to help collect funds and deploy them to organizations that are trusted and heroic in doing work in the ground.
Yeah, so can we talk about the context for this? You mentioned California and asking about structures. Right. Another difference with California is everything was fine in California until there's an earthquake, and then shortly thereafter it will return. Highest inflation in the world, I think, in Venezuela. An immense amount of poverty, very little government support for people, whether it's health care or other things. So even if it turns out that thanks to the efforts of people like you, I assume, all around the country, and the hundreds of millions our government, it's great they're doing it, are providing, doesn't that just sets things even further back than they were prior to whatever it was, June 26th or whatever the hell day was?
Yeah, it was June 24th.
June 24th.
At 6 p.m. And yes, it hit a country that was already struggling and really suffering in many ways. So infrastructure was very fragile. The transportation corridors, humanitarian situation was already very critical. So this has just really exacerbated a problem where you have about 1.3 million people now needing humanitarian aid. And you have 20,000 people who've been displaced.
Is your experience, I worry that we in this, and I'm guilty too, this is not my usual criticizing other people and leaving myself out, that we have compassion fatigue at this country, is we get deeply immersed. Everybody I know was talking about the horrors of what happened in Venezuela shortly after the 24th, but then we tend to move on. We spoke to the Assistant Secretary General who's in charge of UN efforts in Ukraine the other day, and it's clear there's less interest in the plight of people fighting to protect their democracy. Is that a worry that you have? Is that in the short run, people here will care pretty deeply, as evidenced by what you describe, and then it dissipates? You're nodding in agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big concern, and we see that time and time again, is that once the headlines fade, the attention goes away, but the pain that people feel on the ground does not go away. And so we, as Venezolanos here in Massachusetts, we're doing our little bit of, like I say, granito que aporta, your little grain of sand that helps But we're not the only ones. The global community has responded. There's a lot of support from the European Union, from all over the world, and they've dedicated money, which is what Venezuela currently really needs, to help also with reconstruction, because there's apparently 25,000 homes that need to be replaced.
Wow. Well, thank you both.
Well, I have a couple. Can I do another thing
Sure.
for a second? I know this is politics, but I think it matters. Everybody says the most popular person but amongst Venezuelans is Maria Corina Machado, and I think we all met her when she gave a gift to the President of the United States. And but apparently she didn't get anything for that either. Nobel Peace Prize, another gift, another day. What's the state of affairs, the political state of affairs? Rodriguez is the titular power right now. I think she blocked Machado coming into the country. I don't know if she's in the country now. Ciro, what's the state of the internal politics in Venezuela?
Yeah, it's the same regime. Rodriguez was the vice president of Nicolas Maduro. Jorge Rodriguez, her brother, is, I would say, the second or third person in power, along Diosdado Cabello. Maria Corina Machado has been trying to come back to Venezuela and help people. It wasn't been possible. Hopefully she can come back and help Venezuelans as well.
And you don't have to answer this question if it's going to poison the whole field of this, so feel free. Is the reason why, despite her popularity, the Trump administration doesn't want her there is because she's not as easily controllable as Rodriguez? Is that the thinking?
I'll share my personal perspective, is that she has no power. She has no control over the military. She has no control over the institutions. So she doesn't have that access that Delcy has through her brother and this other gentleman who actually control the military.
Okay. Before you go one more time, each of you tell us what sites people can go to if they want to contribute in any way.
To support Venezuelan relief efforts and long-term recovery, please go to www.tbf.org/Venezuela. And if I may, I'd love to show this beautiful design.
Yeah, that's great.
This was done by a Venezuelan artist, Frank Marval.
Turn around, Sora, so we can see the back of
that's
There you go, right there.
Ciro, that's
great.
Thank you.
And we brought this for you, Jim.
Oh,
and Margaret,
yes,
you
I have
yours.
one. Yes, I do. It's right over here.
But we're very grateful to the Venezuelan community that has been working relentlessly to help with relief, and we'll keep doing this.
And what's the website for your organization there?
It's vamass.org.
vamass.org.
Right.
Thank you both for what you're doing, and please come back soon and tell us how things are going. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very, very much for coming in. We've been speaking with Ciro Valiente, Manager of Marketing and Communications at Latinos for Education, and Zamawa Arenas, Co-Chair of Latino Equity Fund at the Boston Foundation. They've been providing aid to local Venezuelans. If you would like to contribute, vamass.org or tbf.org/Venezuela, and TBF stands for the Boston Foundation, tbf.org. Coming up after this quick break, we're going to talk with media maven Sue O'Connell. We're going to talk with her about the wildfires and the terrible pollution that people are experiencing in sections of the country. We had it here in Boston. I'm Marjorie Egan. He's Jim Browdy, listening to BPR 89.7 GBH live from the Boston Public Library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News.
I'm Edgar V. Herwick III. Today on the Curiosity Desk, we're live from the Boston Public Library. Records, vinyl, that physical medium that's managed to endure through 8 tracks, cassettes, even the 99-cent single on iTunes. Why does some physical media endure where others fade away? And why physical, tangible records of all kinds are so crucial to archivists and misinformation combatants in the 21st century. That's the Curiosity Desk, today at 1 on GBH 89.7.
Support for our programs comes from you.
And Commonwealth Shakespeare Company, presenting A Midsummer Night's Dream. This summer's free Shakespeare on the Boston Common. Shakespeare's classic comedy is transported to a neon-lit festival escape, July 22nd through August 9th. comshakes.org. And Cambridge Trust, a division of Eastern Bank, dedicated to helping individuals and businesses pursue their financial goals with a full range of banking and wealth management services. Learn more at cambridgetrust.com.
Welcome back to BPR 89.7 GBH. Marge Regan and Jim Browdy live from the library, streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. The reason I'm laughing, of course, is because we haven't found Sue yet. So why should this segment be different from any other
Well, we could
segment
just talk about all the subjects we were going to talk about with Sue.
Again, yeah,
that would be good. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the Canadian wildfires in all these cities around the country. We had it. I mean, today the sky is bright, but 2 days ago when we were here, everything was yellow. We looked yellow. Everything behind us was yellow.
I thought it was the W.B. Mason truck.
Yeah, Jim was.
I
said
wrong.
it was yellow. Jim criticized me, of course.
I didn't criticize you.
Yes, you did. You said it's not yellow.
Did.
It's the truck behind you. And I said,
I don't speak
it's
like
not
I don't talk like this. It's not W. I don't do that.
Well, I was just doing an imitation. Jim.
There was a W.B. Mason truck, and it was yellow.
Yeah.
I thought we have no, we don't have photos.
Yeah, but this has become, as the story says, this is going to become the new normal. Climate change has caused these extremes in heat. We're seeing it here with 90-degree weather. We're seeing it in the Canadians where the forest can't cool down enough at night to help the firefighters. And by the way, these firefighters are risking their own lives because they get these terrible diseases, from breathing in all this smoke. And people with asthma, people with any kind of lung problem, I mean, they're advising people when we have what we had the other day on Wednesday to be just wearing N95 masks. Where have we heard that before?
Let me just say
COVID.
You're talking about the immediate impact, the tangential impact. I don't know if you're aware of this, of these fires. Tapes, recordings of Bad Bunny playing with Fabiola Méndez will not play under those circumstances.
Okay.
Zoom cameras for Andrea Cabral will not work.
Okay.
Sue O'Connell doesn't come when she's...
baby, I'm a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When she's supposed to go. Anything any of you want to talk about until Sue shows up? Anybody? No? Okay.
But again...
Oh, we have some sound we can play.
We do?
Yeah. Remember about an hour ago when things were almost working?
Yeah.
We were actually talking. This has nothing to do with anything. It's called filler, as we're waiting for Sue. Remember I told you that RFK Jr. was on Stephen Miller, one of our favorite people's wife's podcast?
Oh, yeah, Katie Miller.
And he was talking about your favorite topic, which I know you're going to try to slide into the Sue discussion, assuming Sue ever shows up, which is testosterone. Here is RFK Jr. He's the voice, and you will hear laughter in the background, and that is Katie Miller, who's lucky enough to be married to the great Stephen Miller. Here it is.
Dr. Haas looked at his medical records and said he's got the highest testosterone level that he's ever seen for an individual over 70 years old. I know the president will be happy that I repeat that.
That was great. Can we play that about 30 more times, and then we'll move to the next? Thank you. No, I was kidding. I was joking. But
well, we are going to talk about testosterone levels with Sue because it's like
apparently we're not.
You thought you actually thought that Mark Kelly, the astronaut and fighter pilot, thought this was a good idea.
No, I didn't say that.
And you were completely wrong.
Once
I had
again,
to point it out to you.
I saw. Oh my God, Sue has shown up. So Sue, we had nobody else to talk to testosterone about today, so we decided we'd reach out to you. Have anything to say about testosterone and the Secretary of War, or no?
Yes, I do. I am so thrilled that finally they are embracing gender-affirming care.
Yes, that's right.
There's been a lot of talk about how they've been anti-trans and not treating gender-affirming things, but there's nothing more gender-affirming than testosterone. So I'm thrilled finally that they're seeing the light on that.
Sue, I've known you for a long time. I know you pretty well in lots of settings. One thing I don't know about you, I have the same quality Marjorie does. When I get stuck on one thing that may not be the biggest story in the news, I can't ever get over it. That's Marjorie and testosterone for the last few days. Do you have topics that don't rise to the level of war and famine that you can't ever get rid of? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to think I think you kind of caught me because I've tried to suppress them.
You have.
Because there are definitely, I get crazy about parking signs.
Okay.
Parking signs. Okay.
Yeah, and I get angry about confusing parking signs, and I often post about them, and then people are like, we're at war. and you're worried about the sun.
Well, Jim didn't explain it very well. I'm not obsessed with the story for it because it's about testosterone. It's because it's so crazy. Here is this guy who spends all his time doing pull-ups and push-ups and running around in tight T-shirts.
And
as we all
abusing women.
know, yes, and his mother said what a horrible son she had, and then she took it back when he was up for nomination to run the Pentagon. It's so crazy, and this is not the problem. And we have, whether you like the Iranian war or not, we have a pretty effective military, but they're not out there, like in the ring, like in the UFC fighting back and forth. They're in airplanes, they're shooting, they're doing drones. The idea that we're having hand-to-hand combat is ridiculous. And anyway, these stories that are coming out today show that testosterone may not even improve your strength. It could give you high blood pressure and blood clots and cause you to become violent and have aggressive mood swings. So it's just crazy, and we have these things that get announced that are so nuts, and we don't seem to think, what is going on here?
Is there a question for Sue in there, or what?
Her reaction.
Okay, what's your reaction,
Well,
Sue?
I mean, it's all of it, right? I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but it's sort of like I keep reminding people that the fact that the networks were concerned that the President of the United States would lie so much that they couldn't put his address on is just normal now, right? We don't even think about that. The Hegseth issue with the no beards and worried about weight and not wanting women in the military, that's his implementing an entire point of view where you can get caught up on the testosterone thing because it's a crazy idea, but you're missing this entire just surface look that he wants our military to be. To your point, Marjorie, we have the most effective military in the world.
We do.
There are problems and there are things that need to be fixed, but giving them testosterone, not letting them wear beards, telling the senior officers that are sitting at desks most of the time that they need to lose weight, not promoting women, not promoting African Americans, and actually derailing those careers, that's a big, big problem.
By the way, Marjorie was talking about how
What?
testosterone doesn't produce the desired result. Obviously, it does for some people. Robin Lowell just texted, I've been taking testosterone and I've been eating reflecting pool algae, and I've turned into the Hulk.
Okay,
So
I have one more theory
depends
I
on
want
the
to
individual.
run by
Oh, my
Sue, because I've
God.
known Sue
Is
for
this
a long
about
time.
testosterone?
No, it's about
Is this about SpongeBob? Is this about
No.
SpongeBob SquarePants being gay?
No, not it's not about that. But that was a great story for a while.
Yeah, why don't we do that
really
for a
did-
few minutes?
did a deep dive into that. But back before we had gay marriage and there was such an animus toward gay. Back we were up at the State House and there were all these disgraceful things going on there all around the country. You always said to yourself, and I know I had this conversation with you, men that are obsessed with gay men. What do we always think about men that are obsessed with gay men?
We don't even have to think it, Marjorie. It is scientifically proven that people who are homophobic are often thinking about homosexual sex on a regular basis.
Exactly.
And the fact that they are anti-gay is because they have bad feelings about themselves having homosexual or same-sex thoughts. And that's, I think, also what we see about, all of this fraud and lying that's happening in the Trump administration. Like accusing everyone of doing things that they are themselves doing. It's just outrageous.
By the way, can I give an update? We're trying to give as many updates on this as possible. If you'll remember, in the first half hour of the show, Nicole Garcia used to work on the show, now is at NBC 10, called in and said she was listening to the show that on her way to work, and she was shocked that it was actually good. And then she didn't like it when we lost Andrea, and she said she turned it off. And she just called back a third time, and she said she loves the show again.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Good.
been a rocky kind of thing, but apparently she's back on board.
But one last thing about this, if you're obsessed with gay
About
men,
what?
you had to make the transition, Jim.
From testosterone
if you
gay
are
hating?
obsessed, if you are obsessed with who's got high testosterone, who doesn't,
Oh, I see.
who can do
Yeah.
emetic pull-ups,
that's actually a good
who
point.
has beards,
Okay.
who looks good. What does that say about the guy who's running the military? Whatever it says, it's not good. I would say.
No,
not.
I agree.
Not very good.
Okay, we have one more, actually 1.5 more things for you. We mentioned earlier today that there's an incredible coincidence that's happening in Washington. Immediately after Trump buys stock that he doesn't know he bought, he goes on Truth Social and promotes the stocks that he doesn't know he owns, and the stock goes up. We also talked about the fact that he was selling early access to Wall Street and other firms to his posts on Truth Social so they and he can make money before the general public. But I guess because things like this come in threes, he has an incredibly entrepreneurial teleprompter operator who has been with him since 2016. For people who want to get into a business and want to be entrepreneurial, share with people the brilliant idea this guy came up with, please, Sue, if you would.
Yeah, so, one of the challenges that we have in the future, because we don't have enough, is this betting market, this poly market, where people can bet on things. Yeah. And we have seen some very high bets being made about war that then have come true. And whenever they say we gave this amount of money to winners, it's usually just a few winners, the rest are losers. So there's probably people in the administration who are using this betting, online betting stuff, this poly market, to make money. And his teleprompter camera operator, who's been with him for a long time, it has turned out has been placing bets on what Trump might say.
And then, it's a coincidence. What a coincidence. He's right most of the time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And he made, how much did he make?
100 grand.
100 grand.
100 grand, which is probably more than he actually makes per year doing this. So when Trump and the administration are accusing people of cheating and committing fraud and using inside information, they know this because they're surrounded by people who are doing that to enrich themselves. So it's really, you got to hand it to him.
You got to hand it to him.
It really was finding an angle to con, but yeah, he's surrounded by people who are doing things that would make the carnies in my family, the Revere Beach carnies, blush.
So before you go, the thing we're going to spend the rest of the show, we hope, talking to our listeners about is whether the fashion trends have changed enough that it's appropriate for men to wear shorts to work. I'm sure you have a strong opinion on this. What is your opinion, Sue O'Connell?
I am okay with shorts as long as they're not beach shorts or athletic shorts.
Well, you've thought about
If they are Bermuda shorts,
yes.
Bermuda shorts.
A short that comes above the knee, I am fine with it, but I'm not, and again, I know it's a little sexist because some women wear really short skirts.
They do.
But I really think it's about the tailoring and the appropriateness of it.
Wow.
There you go.
Very thoughtful.
What a very,
That was a
very
good
respectful answer. What are athletic shorts? Do I know what athletic shorts are?
Running shorts.
Oh,
that
running
kind of
shorts.
thing, yeah.
Okay, like running shorts. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. All right.
Sue,
And I'm
that
sorry I'm late. I couldn't get onto your Zoom. I kept getting dumped
No,
out.
nobody else can either. It's okay. It's fine.
It was
Don't worry.
Nicole's fault. I'm blaming Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole. It is Nicole's fault.
Say hi to Nicole, by the way, and tell her we're glad she
she's-
likes the
she's-
show finally.
That's right. She's gone from us to you, and now she's sabotaging us to take care of you. So that's what's going on
That's
here.
what sabotaging
And I'm
us.
very
She loves
upset
the
about
show.
it. Yeah, she loves the show.
Sometimes. Sue, goodbye. Nice to see you.
Bye.
Thank you for
Thanks,
joining us.
Thank
We
you
really
very
appreciate it.
much.
Sue O'Connell.
Very
yeah.
much, Sue O'Connell.
Okay.
So that was our media maven, Sue O'Connell. We'd love to talk to her. Coming up after this quick break, we are going to talk about what Jim just talked about, shorts of the office, not just for men anymore, or is it?
Not just for women anymore.
Not just for women anymore.
Right.
You know, I'm like the guy in what was the movie where the anchor read everything right off the script?
Anchorman? How about that for the
That's
name?
me.
Wait, the movie about the anchor.
Yeah,
what
the
could
movie
that
about
be
the
called?
anchorman,
Let me
the guy
see.
that read the script.
Anchorman.
Right, that's what I
it.
do, Jim. Whatever's
Yeah.
there, I read it, whether it's right or wrong. So it's,
F you, San Diego.
Yeah,
One of the
okay.
funniest movies
I would
ever.
not do that. But
No.
anyway, it
Oh,
is
you
not
might.
just for men. It's just not just for women anymore.
Right, exactly.
We're going to talk about summer office attire. That's
Okay,
next.
fine.
Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy, 877-301-8970 is the number to reach us at. This is BPR. At the post, you laughing at me?
No,
they always laugh at me.
Nicole called in again for the fourth time. And Nicole, our former colleague until Friday, says, oh, my God, we have 20 more minutes of this?
Yes, we
and
do.
And the answer is, unfortunately,
I'm sorry
we do.
to report
yeah.
that we do.
Thank you, Nicole.
We're going to
we appreciate
We're going to make it sing, Nicole. We're going to make it sing.
We'll be right back.
This week on Under the Radar with Callie Crossley, clean energy meets the challenges to sweltering heat waves striking the U.S. and Europe. New York says no way to AI data centers. Could Massachusetts be next? And free-roaming cats are eating more than mice and birds. It's our environmental news roundtable. That's Under the Radar with me, Callie Crossley, Sunday night at 6 here on 89.7 GBH and the GBH app.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And Burton's Grill and Bar, featuring a scratch kitchen where each dish is customizable for those with food allergies or restrictions. A gluten-free menu is also available. Details on their allergy protocols at burtonsgrill.com. And Morningside Music Bridge, returning to Boston. The summer program shines a spotlight on young classical musicians from around the world, with concerts now through August 7th at New England Conservatory. mmb.international.
Welcome back to BPR 89.7 GBH. Marjorie Egan, Jim Browdy, streaming youtube.com/
Did you see the latest
GBH.
text?
Yeah, read the text. Go ahead.
This whole show has gone downhill since Nicole left.
Exactly, it has.
She was holding it together.
Quit sniffing glue. Thank you. And let me just say in advance, we promise you the same level of competence and professionalism in the final 15
Yes, that's
minutes
right.
that we've exhibited in the first hour and 40.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Perhaps the pandemic radically changed our idea of what constitutes workwear, because there's a debate raging, not with me, by the way, because I know what my position is, about the appropriateness of shorts at the office for men. So for the rest of the show, we're bringing that debate to you. Someone by the name, I think it's Gilad Edelman is how you pronounce it. I hope it's whatever. In The Atlantic, that over the decades, our fashion sensibilities naturally change. Jeans were blue-collar workwear exclusively until they weren't. T-shirts used to be reserved for undergarments, and even just a decade ago, athletic shoes were frowned upon until Robert Kraft showed up on the scene, and now all of us are wearing Hokas nonstop. So, should we just let the natural arc of progress win and allow shorts in the office for everyone, or would that open it up an entirely new era of fashion policing? Who's going to measure the inseam? Actually, Sue seems to be into that to enforce it's appropriate. Marjorie's plagued by Catholic school flashbacks, even though she didn't go to Catholic school. What do you think? Calves, legs, ankles, knobby knees. 877-301-8970. Every time we worked together for more than a quarter of a century, every single time I've worn shorts to the office, I was going to wear them today. I didn't because of this. Every single time you've ridiculed me for doing it. So what's your position on this?
I think some people look great in shorts, and some people maybe not. So
okay,
much.
so what does that mean? Who are the some people? You mean
You know who's
individual
great?
by individual?
You know who looks great in shorts?
No.
Athletic shorts?
Yeah.
The hundreds of young men we've watched out in the soccer fields in the World Cup.
Yeah.
They can wear shorts any day
Well,
they
that's
want
a
to.
sports field kind of thing.
Well, they can wear shorts any place
Should
they
I,
want to.
excuse me, I am sort of a talk show host with you.
Yep.
If I were to choose next week on an 88-degree day to wear shorts to work, which I do fairly regularly in the summer, I haven't this summer yet, but I will, what would your reaction be?
Well,
Is that appropriate?
After reading Gilad Edelman, whatever his name is from The Atlantic, I mean, he goes through this whole thing that just made me think that maybe I've been too rigid on the short issue. But he says they have to be certain kind of shorts, like Bermuda shorts.
That's exactly what Sue said.
That's what Sue said.
Yeah.
Did you know? I mean, this is everything you ever want to know about shorts is in this story. This all came from British and Commonwealth soldiers wearing shorts in Africa when the Brits, were occupying Africa, and then so guys started to wear them. They weren't wearing them at all, but then they started to wear them after they saw that, washing the cars and maybe to play golf, and then the 50s Bermuda shorts we mentioned became formal wear on the island, but that never really took off. No. When they were wearing suits with shorts, and then there was this whole thing about Tom Ford, the fashion guy.
Yeah.
Did you read that? What he decided that the real gentleman would never wear shorts. So on the one hand, I get it because it's warm in the summertime.
Yeah, what are you saying exactly? What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying I'm not so rigid about the shorts anymore, Jim. If you want to wear shorts, go ahead.
Because of what
go ahead and wear
Gilad
shorts.
Edelman had to say? Is that what
Well,
you're...
no. Well, because of all this information
Can I
about
ask you a
shorts.
question? Do you ever
It's
wear
comfort.
a skirt to work?
We're going.
Do you ever
I
wear
do.
a skirt to work?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
How'd you feel about the Scots, which is the people everybody talks about now. How do you feel about them in kilts?
Well, that's their culture.
Okay,
their
well,
country.
my culture is when it's hot, you wear shorts. Well, I'm serious.
You know what I think you should do?
What?
I think
Wear
you should
a kilt?
wear a kilt to the library.
Okay,
that would
fine.
be really fun.
I had a feeling that might happen.
But the modern gentleman is not supposed to wear shorts. That's what Tom Ford says. He's a big fashion expert. Worn on the tennis court and on the beach, but not to the office. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I'm
you
wrong.
are.
Yeah. Do you know only 3% of men wear suits anymore to the office? I mean, that's really incredible.
That's amazing.
Bankers, don't bankers wear suits still?
Well, I don't know that many bankers, Marjorie, to be perfectly honest. I'm not hanging out at banks much of my life.
And then they also talked about how.
Are you going to talk till 2 o'clock? What's happening?
No, we can.
Okay,
We can take some calls. But I just want to point out
Nicole,
that.
what do you think of this segment so far? Okay, call us, will you?
And
Go ahead.
they talk about many times shorts look bad.
They do, yeah.
And if they're too long, they can visually shorten the legs, which is why Tom Cruise, who's only 5'7",
that's too bad.
wore jeans while playing volleyball on the beach in Top Gun.
That's incredible.
Well, I thought that was very
Who else
interesting,
wore
Jim.
jeans in an inappropriate spot recently?
Who else wore jeans
We talked
in an
about him on the
inappropriate
show
spot?
today.
I
Who
don't know.
dunked himself into an ice plunge with
RFK Jr.
RFK Jr.
That's
with
another
blue
great
jeans
point.
on. What is up with that?
Well, I don't know. I think poor RFK Jr., it's not gone well for him, I would say, overall.
By the way, Nicole
877
just called. She said it's her day off and she's wasting her whole day listening to this crap.
877-301-8970. Do you care about men wearing shorts?
By the way, can I tell you one last thing before we take the calls? What do you talk about almost every day on the show? Climate change.
Right.
When it is hot, why should people not be comfortable? I mean, in all seriousness, I'm not wearing a banana hammock to work tomorrow. So if I were to wear shorts that you consider to be appropriate, why do you even care what someone else wears?
Because I think I was stuck in some of these old ideas of what you're supposed to wear to work, and that shorts just didn't make it. And most of the time, they don't look too good on people. Gym shorts are fine, says the texter, as long as you keep the Morton's toe covered.
Fine. Christoph in Westfield, you are next on BPR. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, how are you guys?
I think we're really
a few times.
Well, it's good.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you feel good, Christoph? Do you feel good about us today? Because we've had a lot of snafus today, a lot of mistakes.
You know what? This is one of the best shows you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Unfortunately, that's probably true. Thank you. Keep talking, Christoph. You're doing great. Go ahead. What's up?
I know Jim might scoff at this.
I might.
But I'm a professor. I can wear whatever I want to work. And I would like to advocate for the 3/4 length pants or the man-pre because they are insanely comfortable this time of year.
Those are like capri pants. It's man-pre as opposed to capri.
Oh.
Man-pre.
I love capri pants. Yeah.
Did you say you're a professor?
Yes.
Well, how do your students feel about you in man-pre pants? That's what I figured.
Well, I'm still teaching, so...
Okay, well, there you go.
I guess we're okay with it.
I love that look. If you have any shots of you with man-prees, if you could email them to bpr@wgbh.org, that'd be great. Christoph, excellent call to get us started. Can I tell you a story before we talk about this? A teacher of both of my kids, or one or both of my kids at Cambridgeport, was picked as the National Teacher of the Year. He's still working in the system in Cambridge by Bill Clinton. National teacher, went to the State of the Union.
You go 3 men in shorts and walk right by you now, Jim.
That's great, Marjorie. Okay, so what am I?
They look great.
National Teacher of the Year. His name is Fred Park. I can say one of the greatest teachers and a wonderful person. What does he wear 365 days a year, or every day he goes to school, even in winter? What do you think of that?
He's wearing shorts. Every man that's gone by you in the last 5 minutes, it's really amazing.
That's
He's all
great.
been wearing shorts. Marion Medway says if they're good enough for UPS drivers, they're good enough for the office.
That's a very good point.
And Peter in Mystic has the opposite view.
What's he say?
Says, as a gay man, I say the question of whether a man should wear shorts anywhere depends completely on whether he has good legs.
Well, should a woman? Hey, excuse me. What's his name? Peter.
Peter.
Peter. If a woman should a woman only wear a skirt if she has good legs? Text us back. Nicole, you text us too. Let's go to Tom in Sudbury. You are next. We're talking about shorts on men at the office, sort of, I guess. Not really. Go ahead, Tom. Tom. Of course he's not there.
Not talking about this.
Okay, fine. Tom, we'll put you on hold because obviously we're
Do you want
never
to
going
read
to
that
talk to you.
anonymous text, Jim?
Well, you can read it if you choose.
No, I don't want to read it.
Jim can keep a side pickle and a banana hammock. It's It's really bad. It's really bad. And by the way, Marjorie is the one who started talking about the side pickle, not in that context. On the show.
That's right. I was talking about it as a sandwich.
Yeah, we're
next
talking
to
about
your
a pickle
sandwich.
on a sandwich. Yeah.
Leaf is on the road. What do you think, Leaf?
That person's not going to be there either.
I
Go
mean-
ahead. Oh, you are.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Leaf. What's up?
You guys are cracking me up
Yeah,
on
me
what's been
too.
a tough Friday, I
It's a
gotta tell
riot.
you.
Yep. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
What's going on, Leaf?
So I got engaged very quickly when I was in my 20s
Yeah.
to a guy from Bermuda, and I got off the plane, and he met me at the airport with the Bermuda shorts and the knee socks.
Oh, that.
Oh.
That's
Oh.
not a happening thing at all.
gosh.
Was that the end of it?
So I'm good with shorts, but
Yeah.
lose the socks.
Yeah. So what happened to the relationship?
We got divorced after 10 years.
Well, obviously, it's
you
amazing you
10
lasted
years.
that long. Frankly.
Wow, the socks. You know, that is a great
Leaf,
point.
thank you.
That is a
Horrible.
great point. That's kind of like ankle socks with sandals.
Yeah, like Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
We have a colleague who now works on another show who shall not be named, Aiden, who wears socks with Birkenstocks, and it's
Okay.
really. Oh my
Okay.
God! Look who's on. Is this? Okay, we are joined on the phone.
Nicole is called.
By our former
Oh my God.
colleague who thinks she knows everything about our show,
Okay.
Nicole Garcia.
Yeah,
Nicole,
so
welcome to the show.
She said we were good, then we were awful, then we were
Well,
good,
now
then we
she's
were
gonna
awful.
tell us.
So what do you
It's
think,
her-
Nicole?
It's her first call to the show, by the way. Go ahead, Nicole.
It is my first call, first time, long time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I've been summoned. There's people on YouTube saying, how many times can a former employee call into the show?
Exactly. It's my question.
So I say it's been a decent show. I think
Oh.
there could be improvements, but it's been decent.
Well, that's really fabulous. Now, not that I'm interested, but what would you improve that you think didn't live up to expectations? Give us like 2 things. Go ahead.
I would say there needs to be more of the great stomping lady sound, and I would say just
Thank you. Okay. And what else? We should have done that. You're right. What else?
I don't know, more sparkle sounds. I just sound effects.
More sound effects.
I always do.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say
We
to
should
us?
give
or is-
Nicole credit, though.
No, I'll
Nicole?
just keep reviewing. I'll just keep, I'll
We would
keep
appreciate
tuning
that.
in,
No, that's
but I'll
actually
keep
not
telling you
necessary,
whether or
but
not I
thank
like
you.
the show. And if I don't like the show, I'll tell you.
No, I wish
Well-
you wouldn't. Thank you, Nicole.
No, Nicole, we have to say, Nicole gave us our greatest segment, which is Am I the A-hole, which we do every Thursday afternoon. That was Nicole's idea. and it's
Okay,
been-
now
it's
let
been
me
the
say
most
this.
Fun.
I want to tell you a funny story. Nicole,
Is Nicole still here?
Excuse me. Yeah, Nicole, don't go away yet.
That's right.
First of
We have
all,
a
you can't
present.
see this. We have a present for Nicole that came in today.
Are you watching
She is
on
the
YouTube?
creator of Who is the A-Hole, and the T-shirt, which you can't see except for 3 letters,
should open it up.
says, Who is the A-Hole now? That is, we're giving that to Nicole because she left us. Here is one of the best stories about Marjorie. You like it? Here it is. I'm holding up. Nicole, don't go away.
Can you see it?
Can you see this? Who is the A-Hole? Whoops.
I love it.
Thank you.
I'm
Cost
gonna
us a
wear it
lot
to
of
the
money.
office.
Okay. Now we have one more story to tell. Marjorie says, I think in addition to the T-shirt, we should write Nicole
I
a
wrote
really
a note,
nice
that's
note.
right.
Excuse me, Marjorie. I'm telling a story here. We have to be warm and emotional because she meant a lot to us. She's
Yeah.
been a wonderful colleague.
That's right.
Etc. So I write. I mean, I thought it was pretty nice, but it was sort of superficial. I mean, I really do love. I used to love Nicole, and I wrote a nice thing. Marjorie, to her credit, writes in great detail all the wonderful things in this card she presented last Friday to her at the bar at the Lenox. And one of the things, and I admire Marjorie for picking this out, we went to the Big E last year, or 2 years ago. Marjorie, in writing, praised the fabulous performance of Nicole when we went to the Big E. Nicole, how would you rate your performance at the Big E a year or so ago? Go ahead. Let's hear what she says.
I did not go there, but if I was there, I'm sure I would have done a great job. And
Exactly.
Marjorie, thank you for hallucinating me.
That's right. Well, this is what Nicole texted. She said about our notes, Jim. She said, Marjorie thanked me for a thing I didn't do, and Jim's note was completely illegible.
Well, thank you.
So there you go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
well,
I could not understand his handwriting at all, but
Thank
I'm
you,
sure
Nicole.
it was very kind.
It was. Now, Nicole, this has really been a fine call, but I'm sure you're really busy at your new job, so if you can't call again, that's fine. Nicole Garcia, the great Nicole Garcia, let's hear her for her. We miss her now at NBC 10 and Telemundo, right? Isn't she working at Telemundo too?
Yes.
Okay.
too.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right, take
Sorry
care.
about my
We're
mistake.
sending you the T-shirt.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Any other former employees who want to call in? Or no? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. That's fine.
Al in West Roxbury says, I love men in shorts, particularly young or somewhat fit men, but no one should wear shorts to work, men or women, come on. But yes, I'm pro men in shorts, just please don't wear sandals. Okay, that's...
Well, bare feet
a
for
lot of
men.
people
I have to
don't
say,
like men in
I
sandals.
don't want to be gender biased.
It could
but
be the toenail
men,
situation.
No, men in sandals is just...
not
At
good?
work. I mean, anywhere else
You
is
wear
fine.
those sandals that you got in Provincetown
I did.
from the special leather dealer.
They're handcrafted to fit my foot, as a matter of fact. That's right.
Isn't your
Kim Rouleau is his
isn't
name.
your
His
big
father,
toe-
Roger. No, I'm not going to do
It's
this.
in circles.
I'm not doing this. Roger Rouleau, his father, was the most famous sandal maker of
Well,
our
that's great.
time, Marjorie.
I was just going to describe them. There's
Okay.
a strap of leather surrounding your big toe, and then you see the other toes, and they don't have any socks or peds or whatever on them.
Okay,
And so
fine.
it's Jim's
Thank you. That-
toes.
that went over
with
really
the,
well with
the
this
Morton
group here.
toe. Rob from East Bridgewater.
All I can say is thank God this is almost over. Let's.
Rob from
you have
East Bridgewater.
45 seconds to close this baby out, Rob. Go ahead.
Thank you for
All
calling.
right, I got the perfect closing.
Good.
For you. So, Jim, Marjorie constantly teasing about Morton's toe.
Yes.
I want you to know that Morton's toe was traditionally associated with sexual virility.
Oh.
And
Thank you.
I will back this up.
How do you know
because
it?
I dated a woman.
Yeah.
I dated a woman
I
with
heard you.
Morton's toe.
Yeah,
and
and-
baby, it's true.
Really?
It's true.
Well,
wow.
That's really great news. The only problem is, even though she's been saying it for years, I don't have Morton's toe. So that is a limiting
he does.
factor there.
He says he doesn't.
Rob, that was a fabulous
We've never
call,
seen
almost as
Jim's
good as
feet
Nicole's.
to verify.
Okay.
We need to check
Thank
and
you, Rob.
verify.
This is where you say thank you for
Are
listening.
we done? Oh, we are.
Yes, we are. Thank
Wow.
God. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
This is a
today,
good
Jim.
show. It really
It was
works.
a tough one.
Smooth.
Okay. Thank you very much, people that in the
Thank
audience
God we
who
have a
came
contract.
down
That's all I can say.
And put up with this. We have a podcast and a TikTok page at Boston Public Radio. On Monday, Jim and I had the day off. Shirley Young and Christina Quinn are in for us. They're going to talk with retired federal judge Nancy Gertner, food policy analyst Corby Kummer, and Globe Camberville reporter Spencer Buell. Our crew, Zoe Matthews, Hannah Loss, Ariana Gonzalez, our engineer, John the Claw Parker. Our executive producer is Jane Bologna. Special thanks to Nicole Garcia, who basically took up half the show today. She doesn't even work for us anymore. Special thanks to our BPL staff, Maddie Guy, Patrick Lally, Colin Cockrell, Hannah Eckert, and Zebby Alexander. Thanks to our security team, Darius and Derek, and our host of the Newsfeed Cafe and across the street at the Lenox Hotel. Stay tuned to the library here because everybody's going to be here today. The Curiosity Desk with Edgar B. Hurd III is going to be here, and Arun Roth is in today for Edgar B. Hurd III. He does magic tricks, Jim. Maybe he's going to do some today.
We don't know. We'll
Starting
see.
immediately after us, and then the Culture Show's Week in Review. It starts at 2 with Callie filling in for Jared.
Jared's
and
not
Lisa.
here either.
Jared's not here either.
Jared's not here.
No, no one
Edgar's
is
not
here.
We screwed up everything. It's a great day for GBH.
Okay. Lisa Simmons and James Sullivan will be here.
We're going to try to do better next week, by the way, so don't give up on us quite yet. Thank you all.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you
Thanks
very much for coming
Bye.
down. Have a great weekend. Bye.
From the stories of centuries past to discoveries that will define our future, How Did We Get Here's how-tos and more. Journey with us down the rabbit hole on the Curiosity Desk. Coming up next on GBH 89.7.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And Concord Park, a Volunteers of America senior community in Concord, offering wellness, care, and support services to help seniors age in place, including a Compass Memory Support Neighborhood. ConcordPark.org/care. And PNC Bank, who believes when you pay attention to the details, amazing things can happen. Like when you check the pockets of a jacket you haven't worn since last fall and find $20. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Arun Roth, in for Edgar B. Herwick III. Today on the Curiosity Desk, live from the Boston Public Library, a check-in on that wildfire smoke from Canada that descended on New England this week, making our days sepia-toned and our air quality awful. Is it truly gone? And what is the science behind that yellow hue? After that, turning up the dimmer to some full-spectrum light for our Friday Misfit News panel, in case you missed it, talking about the best public swimming pools that Boston has to offer. That's if you're not headed to Revere this weekend for the Sand Sculpting Festival. Then, why in the age of streaming, vinyl record sales continue to climb, and the lessons that record foraging has taught one misinformation activist. We'll close with the people behind a new way to experience Boston's Freedom Trail by highlighting Indigenous history. That's all ahead this hour on the Curiosity Desk on 89.7 GBH.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh. Heavy, thick smoke from wildfires north of the border is spreading across large parts of the Midwestern and northeastern U.S. this week. Tens of millions of people are breathing in air that ranges from unhealthy to hazardous, given high levels of fine particulate matter. Nearly 200 active wildfires are burning in Ontario as of this morning. Premier Doug Ford says so far this year, Canada has experienced more than 3,500 wildfires.
Last year, we had over 600,000 hectares on fire. This year, and it's changing on a daily, hourly basis, it's 650,000 acres already.
Major wildfires are also burning in northern Minnesota. Hundreds of federal border security buoys are floating down the Rio Grande after being swept away by floodwaters near Eagle Pass, Texas. The loose buoys have prompted officials to close some international bridges in South Texas. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies has the latest.
The Department of Homeland Security's river buoys broke loose after massive rainfall and floated downstream. The city of Eagle Pass temporarily closed 2 international bridges to Mexico as the barriers passed through. Downstream in Laredo, officials have activated the city's operations center, and crews are using drones to track the buoys. Officials say the drifting barriers could affect operations at the city's 4 international bridges. Laredo is one of the nation's busiest inland ports. DHS installed hundreds of miles of a floating border wall in the Rio Grande earlier this year to deter illegal immigration. For NPR News, I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
President Trump's nominee for Attorney General Todd Blanche met with victims of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The meeting came hours after a key Republican senator demanded Blanche do so as a condition for supporting his nomination. Here's NPR's Ryan Lucas.
The ultimatum that Blanche meet with Epstein survivors came from North Carolina Republican Senator Tom Tillis, whose vote is critical for Blanche's nomination to advance. Hours later, Blanche found time to sit down with a group of Epstein's victims who had been trying for months to arrange just such a meeting. Afterwards, Tillis commended Blanche for sitting down with the women and his, quote, willingness to directly engage and listen to them, end quote. But Epstein survivors who were in the meeting say Blanche treated it as a check-the-box exercise. One survivor, Annie Farmer, said Blanche was abrasive, condescending, and intentionally noncommittal in the meeting, and she, like other Epstein victims, urged senators to reject Blanche's nomination to lead the Justice Department. Ryan Lucas, NPR News, Washington.
It's NPR.
Good afternoon. With the latest from the GBH Newsroom, I'm Henry Santoro. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says the city will analyze the road design on Tremont Street where a truck driver hit and killed city planner and cyclist Louisa Gagg last week in what she calls an enhanced effort to improve street safety while police investigate that crash. The Globe reports the mayor also announced plans to ramp up enforcement of blocked bike lanes and to install and replace protected bike lane infrastructure. She adds that her administration will share more details in the coming days. Wu made her comments at last night's vigil for Gagg on City Hall Plaza. And the ICE agent who has been identified as the man who shot and killed a Colombian immigrant in Biddeford, Maine on Monday apparently once threatened to kill his former wife. So says a newly filed protective order request from the woman, which adds to a growing list of allegations detailing his history of violent and threatening behavior. The Globe reports in the request filed yesterday that the agent's former wife asked a judge for sole custody of their daughter. They now have 50-50 custody. In her application for the protective order, his second ex-wife said that she's worried for her daughter's safety. In sports, back-to-back wins today by the Red Sox would give them 11 wins in a row. I know, wishful thinking. I know it's a day-night doubleheader with Tampa Bay Rays. Game 1 starts in just about a half hour. Game 2 at 7:10 this evening. And we are across the pond. The British Open and Tour de France both continue today. We're at 78 degrees in Boston right now. This is GBH News.
Support for NPR comes from DuckDuckGo, a private search engine and browser. DuckDuckGo believes AI should be optional and private. Now with Duck.ai, users can chat privately with AI. Learn more at Duck.ai. This is NPR.
Welcome to the Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. I'm Arun Roth in for Edgar B. Herwick III. We are live at the Boston Public Library and streaming live at youtube.com/GBH News. The Canadian wildfires have changed how we look at things this week. The sky has been sepia-toned, making things look like an Old West photo. It makes for an eerie effect and amazing sunsets, but for dreadful air quality. It's especially bad for people with asthma and other respiratory conditions. Thankfully, the skies have cleared for now. Forecasters say they're likely to return, though, over the weekend. Here to explain exactly what was happening, for instance, why yellow, and whether we ought to be watching out for the next time smoke descends on us, we're joined at the BPL studio by Mathew Barlow, a professor of environmental, earth, and atmospheric sciences at Department Umass Lowell. Mathew, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about the color first. This quality to the light, for someone who works in film, it's beautiful. It's like golden hour in LA all day. Can you explain what's happening to the sunlight between the sun and when it's hitting the ground here to give it that yellow hue?
Sure, and I have to lead in by saying I find the yellow-orange a little bit anxiety-inducing. But I'm
apocalyptic for you.
Exactly, but I do appreciate that others are seeing the beauty in it. It's really interesting what controls the color of things we see in the sky. We have white clouds, a blue sky, we see the sun as yellow, and a lot of what's going on is that white light, sort of pure light from the sun, has all those colors together in it. The rainbow is all added together in white light. But the way that light interacts with things in the air itself, the gas, and particulate matter, little bits of stuff in the atmosphere like smoke particles, those particles interact with different wavelengths, different colors within the light differently. So if white is all colors, when you have small smoke particles, what they're doing is interacting only with the blue colors. They knock those blue colors out of the way as the light is moving through the smoke. So as the light is moving through the smoke, the blue colors get knocked out, and it leaves you the reds and the oranges left, which is what we see.
So that's like, I think about it in audio terms, like a graphic equalizer taking out or putting in certain, or boosting certain wavelengths. So we just get, blocks out the red and blue maybe, and then we get yellow?
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly blocking out the blues and the purples and the indigos, and depending on how thick it is and how much cloud color cloud thickness you have, you get the yellows and sometimes the oranges and the reds, which is, I think, the most dramatic.
Let's talk about the less pretty or also anxiety-inducing aspect of the air quality problems. Talk about what this does mean for the air quality in Boston. It felt awful.
Yeah, and there are sort of two factors that we have to think about when we think about the color versus the air quality, because if the smoke is really high up in the atmosphere, which is how it's transported over long areas, when the smoke is really high up, it doesn't necessarily affect the air quality, but it will affect the color. So sometimes you just get the color, but not the bad air quality. But when those smoke particles are mixed down because it's a little windier, the weather is a little more accurate, then you have the smoke at near ground level, and that's what really controls the air quality. And the reverse is a little bit true as well. The air can look like it's cleaned out, but if we have more of that low smoke left, it's not as dramatic to look at, but it can still have massive health impacts. And those small smoke particles that really affect the light also really affect our lungs. It's those tiny particles that are the highest health impact.
Is there anything different now about these wildfires? In terms of the severity, I don't recall Canadian wildfires being a thing that affected us when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah, I certainly don't remember these kind of events going on in the past. And if you look at the records that are being set now, they're unprecedented. So what we're seeing now feels very strange and unusual, and it is. This type of massive kind of fire in Canada, especially eastern and central Canada, is relatively new. And if you look at a trend, you see the trend going up in wildfires, you see the trend going up in temperatures, and you see the trend going down in humidity, so the air is getting drier. And of course, that makes us think of climate change, which it certainly is.
So could this be a seasonal thing for us now? Canadian wildfire season is also bad air quality season for us in Massachusetts.
Yes, and I think we can look at the West Coast where these kind of bad air quality days with smoke have become a really regular thing, and they're not yet a regular thing in Massachusetts in the Northeast U.S., but they are going to become increasingly common until we stop emitting fossil fuels.
That's Mathew Barlow, a professor in the Environmental, Earth, and Atmospheric Sciences Department at Umass Lowell. Mathew, it's been fascinating. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now it's time for our Friday roundup of Misfit News. This is In Case You Missed It. We're exploring the best public-ish pools across Greater Boston to cool off this weekend. That's if you don't trust these new data saying local beaches are some of the cleanest in the nation. And if the breathtaking sand sculptures in Revere aren't your thing. Returning for In Case You Missed It are Renuka Balakrishnan, digital producer at GBH News.
Hi.
Give her a hand. Yeah, he's awesome. And a new face to the Curiosity Desk, but a familiar face to the GBH family, Emily Schario.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great to have you. Emily's the co-founder and the face of The B-Side. It's a daily newsletter packed with local news and things to do. She's also on Instagram. Check her out at emily.in.boston.
You got it.
There we go.
Perfect.
First, I get a reaction to the wildfire haze story. What do you think?
I mean, it feels like the Coldplay song. It was all yellow walking around after work. It feels like you're in, it's hard to breathe, but also it feels like you're in Dune or something like that.
No, exactly. It looks like those memes where people say, like, how all movies in Hollywood will edit, like, the Middle East. Or Mexico.
That's right.
It's like, oh, this is not New England, is it?
Everything's Morocco.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant. So let's. I'm going to start off with, where was I? With Emily talking about pools.
Pools.
Tell us about, so there we go. Lost my place. So tell us about what you found as you're looking at pools across Boston.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have tons of wonderful beaches around the city, around the state, but obviously we've been having a couple of dirty water problems recently. And so and also sometimes, you don't want the sand and all the little crevices. You just want to jump in, dry off, and leave. So I wanted to test out to see the range of pools around Boston. It's a hard job, but someone's got to do it.
That's tough.
And I tested around 5, and there were 3 that I found that I really liked. So there was one, which was the Verb Hotel, which, fun fact, a lot of people who aren't hotel guests can actually use some of these hotel pools.
Good to know.
Yeah, and so it's tiny. It overlooks Fenway Park. You're right. The hotel restaurant is Hojoko, which makes one of the best burgers in Boston. Has great Wi-Fi. So I posted up there for an afternoon one day. Did a little work. Went for a swim. It was great. But if you're on the public pool route, the Veterans Memorial Pool is really where it's at.
Okay.
Clean, huge, great for jumping. Tons of space. Lots of kiddos there. You might get splashed, but whatever. It's free.
I have to admit that the hotel pool hack is something that I did when our kids were younger, and it can be a great way to do it. What are your criteria? What is it? Just about being clean, or the jumping?
I think there's probably a more nebulous category of just kind of, yes, is it free? I think that changes something. 2 of the ones that were my favorite, you do have to pay for, but you are getting things like towels, water, chairs, like certain things that you don't have to pack with you, and you just show up and it's kind of effortless. But yes, it's important to me that the water is clean. That's also a good temperature too. Like no one wants to jump into a cold pool. Having plenty of space to lay out, and that it's also relatively accessible.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
This is like boots on the ground journalism.
Flip-flops on the ground.
Flip-flops on the ground. And I like the work from
Sandal
home.
leather
Yeah.
journalism.
Exactly.
You're really like influencing a generation of future, work from home, it's a little cheat.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, these pools are my favorite place to play hooky. Work from
I
home.
hope my manager's not watching this.
It's a Friday at 2 p.m. You see what happens.
Well, while we're talking about this difficult reporting, tell us about sandcastles.
All right. So I actually am glad we're talking about this. So this afternoon, I believe, kicks off Revere's International Sand Sculpting Festival, which is where the best of the best sand sculptors from all around the world are going to gather.
It's legendary.
It's legendary. I've never been before, but it has been assigned to me as of yesterday afternoon. I will be out there right after this to hopefully talk to some people. So I did want to say, if you know anything, please email me.
It is. I've been there. I went there maybe 8 or 10 years ago, and it is truly you're going to be so floored. You're going to forget that it's sand. They're so impressive.
And talking of free things to do, this is Massachusetts' largest free activity, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow. We have some photos in the stream that people can check out, and they are just it's amazing. It's first off one of those things who doesn't like sandcastles? What is there not to love about sandcastles? But it's real art.
Oh, 100%. And it's kind of beautiful. It's temporary. They construct them in 2 days and then they'll be gone eventually. Unless I'm wrong about that, but I do believe sandcastles are temporary. And that's sort of moving to me. They spend all this time doing this just for this weekend.
Well, while we're talking about this fun kind of, you might say, touristy stuff, I want to talk about this piece that was in the Globe, Emily, from your colleague Christopher Muther. Am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
Muther. A Canadian sports betting website put a list of the most overrun tourist destinations in the U.S., and there were some New England spots on the list, Provincetown, Nantucket. First off, does overrun mean bad? If a destination is overrun, are you going to go somewhere else?
Well, this article felt a little targeted because I just came back from a weekend on Nantucket. So I'm part of the problem, apparently. Yes, exactly.
There you go.
At least from my personal experience on Nantucket, it felt full, but it didn't feel crowded. And now I've been to most of those destinations listed during peak season, and I actually found Nantucket to be the least sardine-y in there. But I think that part of going there in the summer is the expectation that it's going to be a little crunchy. You're going to maybe wait online for some ice cream. But I think that's, that is the deal you make with the devil.
Right. It's like going to see the Pops on the 4th and complaining about the crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's plenty. I think Bar Harbor was on there. I'm looking at a weekend trip to Maine, and this was a discouraging article, I have to say. But honestly, I think booking summer travel in New England is, at this point, like psychological warfare. But I think I don't think that should discourage anyone from going, because there's no other season during which it is ever going to be as nice to come here. Mm-hmm. And this is there's excellent PR for New England in summer. I think it's deserved.
But stop, you're now encouraging more people to come here. So
yeah.
This is what we suffer for.
This is my thing. I'm not telling anyone where I'm going to go in Maine this summer until after I've gone, because I'm we have to gatekeep. We have to gatekeep these pools too. Man,
totally.
This is the responsibility.
There you go. Well, let's change topic then. So I want to talk about Renuka. There was this piece in the Wall Street Journal. This is so interesting, by Callum Borchers, about how AI has made it easier than ever for employers to run background checks on the digital footprints of potential hires and employees. And this question at the end was one that I want to throw it out to first, and that's it. If your digital persona is too squeaky clean, you might get thrown out of the applicant pool for being boring. No one wants to work with a total stiff.
God, this article stressed me out. I highlighted that quote too, because I was we can't even win. You can't be too crazy. You also can't be stiff. You've never met these people who are interviewing you, and AI is screening this application. That's not even a human.
Well, let's start with the too crazy end of the spectrum. What are the kind of things that they can potentially find out that you couldn't purge from your digital history?
People were talking in this piece about Snapchat, these kids think that your Snapchat is gone after 6 seconds. Now, I was on Snapchat as a middle schooler, and some of high school as well. And this was exactly what my parents would tell me too. They'd be you never know if a future employer is going to find that video of you with a dog filter that you sent to your friend. You never know. And I was always scoffing at that. I was it's private. I guess not. But I'm curious about how they're not breaking the law when they, I don't know.
I think I want to know what is the appropriate amount of weird for you not to be seen as stiff, but
That's
for you
what
not
I'm
to
curious
be
about.
hired.
And is there an algorithm somewhere you can figure out just how weird to be, or just how offensive or edgy, or what gets you in?
They should get an AI to maybe produce some appropriately casual, quirky, but not over the line Instagram content for all young professionals.
The thing in terms of the bad stuff coming up, I just feel I have no sympathy for any politicians right now. We could run through the list of names who are getting embarrassment over an old tweet, because we have been now 20 years of telling people it's up there forever. I was telling this to my kids, more than 10 years ago, all of that same stuff. So people really shouldn't be surprised.
Totally. I also wonder if the bar over time is going to change now that you have this younger generation who's running for office, who has this who's amassed this digital footprint. It's not like you're a boomer running for Congress and maybe things started when you were 40 or 50. You have it from when you were a teenager and when your brain's not fully developed. So I do wonder if our tolerance for certain things will modify over time.
And I think there's an important difference here between bad tweets that are
correct,
egregious, and something you post when you're 10 that's sort of embarrassing. I think the article, it talks about both. I feel it's you can be embarrassing, I hope. But you're right, I don't have empathy for people who went beyond embarrassment.
Yeah. What I say is being cringe is a victimless crime too. So
it's a victimless crime.
Well, I mean, it depends how you define victim.
Depends on the cringe.
It depends on how you define cringe and how you define victim.
Yes, but me posting I love Justin Bieber from 2009, that is a victimless crime.
You're listening to The Curiosity Desk. We're talking with Emily Schario and Renuka Balakrishnan. This is In Case You Missed It. One thing I missed over, I want to get back to, it's unfortunately something that's nice about Massachusetts. Well, potentially. What you both made of the new data saying Mass lakes and ponds are some of the cleanest in the country, because we've had some headlines that ran counter to that recently.
Yeah, I was confused.
Some sewage incidents, leaks.
I was confused because in the middle of that article, the sewage is coming up. So I don't.
So to speak.
I personally am not swimming this season in the ocean, which like breaks my heart. But now I know about 3 cool pools I can go to. So thank God.
Exactly.
I don't. It is nice that there's like there's routine testing and such, and like I do agree that I think people do get over panicked about like swimming in an urban beach. I think that usually that's pretty overblown. That said, I'm avoiding the North Shore personally, and this article did not entirely change my mind.
It's also just frustrating too, when you have obviously when these sewage overflows happen, it makes it difficult to swim. But then you also have having access to the water, especially during a heat wave during the summer, like that feels like a right in a lot of ways. And the fact that there's all this mixed messaging about where you can and can't cool off, I imagine it's frustrating.
And it's hard because like not everyone can go to Martha's Vineyard or has a Cape House, and so much of these beaches are private. Mm-hmm. And these are some of the only public beaches. It feels especially nasty. Mm-hmm.
That's GBH digital producer Renuka Balakrishnan. We've also been talking with Emily Schario, co-founder and face of the B-Side. You can check out Emily's newsletter and follow her on Instagram at Emily in Boston. Next up, the original B-Side, of course, was on the back of a 45, or actually a 78. A fitting segue for our next conversation about the enduring, dusty charm of vinyl records in the age of digital streaming. I'm Arun Roth, in for Edgar B. Hurwitz III. You're listening to The Curiosity Desk. Stay with us.
I'm Callie Crossley. Today on The Culture Show, one of literature's great journeys becomes this weekend's biggest movie as Christopher Nolan brings the Odyssey to the big screen. And Catcher in the Rye turns 75. Why does Holden Caulfield's loneliness, rebellion, and contempt for phonies still endure? Then Madonna, Shakira, and BTS headline the World Cup Finals' first halftime show. We take on that and more on our Weekend Review today at 2 on 89.7 GBH.
Support for our programs comes from you.
And Newport Mansions, presenting an evening with author and historian Rick Atkinson July 30th at Rosecliff. Atkinson will discuss America at 250 and the causes and consequences of the war that gave birth to our nation. NewportMansions.org. And GM Roth Design Remodeling, providing custom kitchens, bathrooms, and accessory dwelling units. Their design team works to create living-in-place solutions tailored to the needs of each home and family. More information at gmroth.com.
You are listening to The Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. I'm Arun Roth, in for Edgar B. Hurwitz III. We are live at the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. I'm going to start this segment with a confession. I am a physical media fanatic. Vinyl records, CDs, super audio CDs, Blu-rays. I even kept a massive collection of cassette tapes, and I have the systems to play all of it. But I am not alone. The resurgence of vinyl records has become the Rocky-style underdog music story of the 21st century. According to the Recording Industry Association of America, 2025 continued a 19-year growth streak. A 9% boost in sales over the year prior, it has become, once again, a billion-dollar industry. Beyond that, consumer sales of CDs were up last year, 16%. About 10 of that 16% was from K-pop records. Of course, streaming, free and paid, don't want to say streaming with such contempt, but still accounts for the largest chunk of the pie, at around 71% of music revenue. And for video entertainment, the numbers are extreme. Physical media like DVD and Blu-ray account for 1.4% of industry revenue. So is physical media coming back or dying more slowly? To help us understand, we're joined by Tony Goddess, a music business lifer. He's the owner of Bang a Song Recording Studios, longtime staff member at Mystery Train Records in Gloucester. Also with us is Joan Donovan, founder of the Critical Internet Studies Institute, a BO assistant professor of journalism and emerging media studies, a Curiosity Desk contributor, and co-creator of the beaver emoji. Joan and Tony, welcome to the Curiosity Desk.
Hi. Thank you. It's great to be at the library.
Tony, I want to start with you because you were there on the ground in the shop and in the studio. What have you noticed with sales of physical media? At Mystery Train, you sell everything, right?
Yep, we sell records, cassettes, CDs, DVDs, sometimes even VHS. I mean, it's never stopped, and I think it's doing more than ever. I think one interesting thing is records that sold millions of copies in the 70s or 80s. It used to be, we can sell them for $1 or we'll put them in the free bin. But now people really want Elton John's greatest hits or Fleetwood Mac Rumors, the records that sold so much weren't worth much, but now are worth plenty of money again.
And all these new pressings now.
Yeah, remastered from the original tapes. I think that's a big part of it, is that it is how the artist intended it to be, that it hasn't been remixed, that it isn't modified. If it comes from the original source, it's kind of truer to what the artist intended.
Joan, I know you're a record store, person. Mm-hmm. What are your feelings about this resurgence in vinyl?
Well, weirdly, one of my jobs back in the day when I was a struggling college student was working at the Mystery Train, and Tony actually really helped me get into a lot of stuff that I thought was weird. Right, I'll never forget coming into work one day and he was playing a Rod Stewart record. Who listens to Rod Stewart in the 90s, right? But I loved it, and I was like, what is this? And then I felt like, there's so much more here to discover, and it's also a community.
Joan Donovan hearing Rod Stewart.
I mean, it was a deep cut. It wasn't like something you'd hear off the radio, but what you got to explore at a store like that, and still to this day at Mystery Train, I was just up there yesterday, is the browsing experience, right? That is why you go to a record store, is you go to hold the thing, to look at it, to read the liner notes, to understand where it fits in the world. And also it's a bit of a treasure hunt as well, especially, I don't know what your niche is, but everyone gets their genre, and then you start to learn everything about it and the people that are involved in it, and you start going to shows and meeting and seeing those people. And so the crux of the store is more like the place you go to talk about music and to experience different things, and then you decide if you're going to buy them or not, of course. But very different than going on the internet and clicking around and waiting for something to find you. It's much more of a tangible, and the experience is exciting for me. And so I've been to record stores all over the world, and there's just something about the smell of old vinyl and the endless digging, that Mystery Train does so well. Other places are a lot more curated, and you find like specialty items on the walls, but Mystery Train really focuses on you finding that gem, which is, it was just an amazing time for me to be getting to know myself and getting to know music in the area.
And increasing numbers of younger people are turning to that experience. How much of that, I want to talk about the video side as well, but there's a lot of talk about there being a reaction to streaming and some of this turning to physical media, to having and something that you actually own, that is not locked away in a digital space.
Mm-hmm.
I think people have, just like you have a bookshelf and some of your favorite novels, having a crate of records that you can flip through. It's maybe a little bit a part of your identity, how your home feels when you're in it. You have the paintings on the wall, you have the records that you can flip through. And then taking the time to pull a record out of its sleeve, put it on, it's a little bit meditative, the kind of ritual, just more than just scrolling through on your phone.
And the sound quality. You had mentioned earlier that you have all the components to play a tape and to play a CD. But the teeny little speakers that you get with your television or your computer or you get with your phone, that's not how music is supposed to be listened to. It's supposed to be loud, right? It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to, get you ready for things, or it's supposed to put you in a mood. And, even the engineering of sound has changed so much that I think young people are returning to physical media because they do want that experience of like sitting at home and laying in their bed and listening. And it's really good for your mental health. It's really good for recall. Music is great for studying and helping you understand things because it triggers different parts of your brain to function in ways, just like writing triggers different parts of your brain and reading does. And this massive push to digitization that we've gone into really over the course of the last 20 years has been very damaging because we didn't realize how the way in which we learn and recall is so tied into the physical world that we live in. The smells that you smell, the feelings that you feel when you hear a song for the first time. And so I do think that young people are looking for a kind of nostalgia and a way to kick back and to get to know each other. I always joke that, like, if I go to somebody's house on a date and they don't have books or records or movies, I don't know who they are, right? And I'm certainly not going to say, give me your phone and let me see what you're listening to on Spotify, but there is a lot of your identity that's bound up in the things you consume.
On the industry side of things, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this in particular, and maybe look at video for this part, because in video the numbers are that more extreme. You know, less than 2% physical sales versus the streaming and digital content. Now, on the one side, I mean, they're countervailing trends. You see Criterion Collection Blu-ray DVDs at Barnes & Noble. People are buying those. At the same time, it was earlier this month, Sony announced that they were no longer going to be putting Blu-ray disc players in their PlayStations, which sounds like a little thing, but for the industry, that's a huge thing. People were kind of feeling panicked about this, right?
Yeah, so anytime we change media in a massive way, people do start to devalue that item. And what's weird about vinyl is it's held its value. But for a long time, CDs were considered, you know, less than vinyl. And now, though, people are seeking out all kinds of physical media because of the fact that these streaming companies, when it's through a box, they have so much more control over what you can have access to. And so there's been a big panic amongst companies that license media to these streaming companies saying, well, you're using it for AI, we're not getting paid for that, you're streaming it, and at a whim, they can take it off of the streaming service. So it's not like having access to a library. It's having access to a corporate file folder, which is way different, I would say. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. There's recording artists where the record was streamable last month and now it's gone and I don't know why. And, you know, it's nice to have the physical copy in that regard.
Well, and on that, just extending it a little bit further, for both of you know much about this, there are still many things which are not available digitally, which is part of the joy of what you do, right?
Yeah. And not to be totally dismissive of streaming, because there's things that I never thought I would find this. It only came out in another country, but it's right there on streaming. So I think it's a great time to be a music listener, because there still are record stores. They're making more records than ever, and yet there's also, you know, quite a lot of music online, obviously.
Well, what are some of the areas that are still lacking where you can only get the physical product? One area I would say for my own, I would say Indian classical music is one where it's terrible streaming online, what you can get versus the amazing records you can buy.
I was always surprised at Mystery Train how often people came in and bought classical CDs. Like, that was one of the hardest things to keep in stock, but it was because there's also a voracious collector community, right? And so every subgenre has its people, and they collect these things. And, you know, I was ruminating on this, thinking about even how I learned how to do research in this world. And a big part of it was you get the record, you try to understand who the band is, you try to understand the region, you read their liner notes to see maybe who they went on tour with, what they respect is their, you know. And so a lot of the language and the subculture is lost when you move to streaming. And
that's how I learned all about jazz. Every record would be who's a sideman. Buy their records.
Yeah, I think that's
before
huge.
the internet.
Learning, you know, the songs and who was the player on this record and the engineer and maybe what town it was recorded in. it really just helps you get so much deeper into the music, learning all the background just from reading the credits, not even the liner notes.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I can't believe they recorded this song that was written by this artist, and it's really fun.
Where do you see this? Is it going to even out, balance out at some point? I mean, I have faith in physical media forever because of fanatics like us.
Mm-hmm.
But Joan, where do you see things going? Because it's still, things are moving a lot.
Well, I
still.
think, the vision that the techno overlords would like us is that everything goes digital and that there's never a need for a library. And we have to actually really be careful to push back against that, because then you get information that's only corporately sanctioned, that's, something that's been vetted. You had a great story about the loss of the archive, but there was a record that you were telling me about yesterday, the David Bowie record, that is a really good example of like what is lost.
Well, the David Bowie, The Man Who Sold the World, that the original album cover was withdrawn with David Bowie in a dress reclining kind of seductively. But yeah, that some of the content might be censored and removed from the discourse.
And we already know that's happening with generative AI. There are certain names, political parties, events that certain AI companies will not return information on, and it's all because it's bound up with the stock market and politicians and the desire for lack of regulation, where physical media is going to become much more important, because you're going to want to fact check things that you read online, and you're actually not going to want to go to another website to fact check something. You're going to want to see or find the original. And so I do think that people's physical media is going to become more important in value as the world moves into digital. And I've never heard someone ever say, my favorite song is this MP3, right? Like you still have your favorite record, you still have your favorite song. And so even as we move into digitization, I don't think it's ever going to get rid of amazing places like the Boston Public Library or Mystery Train.
We're just about out of time, but just because you brought it up, Joan, and because you were here sitting right next to me, can I get just a very quick take on you about AI in the music industry and what companies like Tidal are doing in response?
Yeah, so there's some great websites out there where people are trying to figure out which artists are showing up presenting as AI, and so it's actually a really interesting research puzzle to figure out if AI is the artist or not. And so I do think there's going to be a lot more software that comes out identifying this. And the big take home is that everyone hates AI. Like Suno came out and said, we take away the hardest part, which is the songwriting. And every songwriter I know is that the songwriting is the point, so that you can play your own music. And so I do think that it's incumbent upon everyone to realize that creativity is a uniquely human trait. And music especially is one of our underappreciated ways of communicating with each other and also healing each other, I think.
That's Joan Donovan. Joan is the founder of the Critical Internet Studies Institute, a BU Assistant Professor of Journalism. Yeah, give her a hand. An Emerging Media Studies and Curiosity Desk contributor. It's been great talking with you. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. And Tony, thank you as well. Tony Goddess is owner of Bang a Song Recording Studios and longtime staff member at Mystery Train Records in Gloucester. When we return, Boston's Freedom Trail has, for the past 75 years, become its own historic remnant, a reminder of how we used to view the story of America's founding. A new project is re-envisioning the stories told along that famous trail with a focus on indigenous stories, left nearly forgotten for centuries. This is the Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Soraya Wintersmith. Today on GBH's All Things Considered, before the U.S.-Iran war, about a fifth of the world's oil passed freely through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iran controls the strait, and ship traffic is stalled. Plus, this week's Joy Beat celebrates one nonprofit's work promoting equitable access to Boston's waterfront. Those stories and all the day's news starting at 4 on GBH 89.7.
Support for GBH comes from you.
And the Museum of Science. From live science demonstrations to hands-on exhibits, Families can explore the wonders of Earth's evolution and the frontiers of space this summer. Learn more at MOS.org. And Cornerstone at Canton, an assisted living community with wellness, care, and support services designed to help seniors age in place, including a Compass Memory Support Neighborhood. CornerstoneCanton.com.
You're listening to The Curiosity Desk on GBH 89.7. I'm Arun Roth in for Edgar B. Herwick III. We're live at the Boston Public Library and streaming at youtube.com/GBH News. We love our history in New England, but if we're being frank, we can be a bit selective about what history we pay attention to. Too often, pivotal stories are lost to time. Enter Whitesnake Projects, an activist opera company trying to broaden our understanding of Native American history with a new way to experience Boston's Freedom Trail. It's called Indigenous Stories. You don't have to stray from the brick-lined path to take in this augmented reality experience. We're joined over Zoom by Cerise Jacobs, founding artistic director for Whitesnake Projects. Cerise, hello.
Hello, Arun.
One of my favorite people.
Thank you. You are too.
And thank you. And here at the library, Akina Wampanoag singer-songwriter Thea Hopkins. Thea, welcome to the Curiosity Desk.
Thank you, Arun.
Great to have you with us. Cerise, tell us about the context in which this project takes place, the theme for the season at Whitesnake Projects, and your decision to focus on Indigenous voices around America's 250th anniversary.
Yes, indeed. The 250th anniversary is the cause for many, many celebrations. And we believed that one very important voice was going to be left out of that conversation. That would be our Indigenous communities. So our programming theme for 2026 is Indigenous Voices. And our walking tour, Indigenous Stories, along the Freedom Trail, is part of a whole year of uplifting Indigenous voices. So we have the walking tour, we have Sing Out Strong, Revolutionary Voices, in which we focus on the poetry of Indigenous poets, which are set to music from a nationwide call to create songs. And we also have, at the end of the year, Requiem for America by Brent Michael Davids, a Mohican Mansi Lenape composer whose Requiem tackles the genocidal founding of America. You know, an interesting point is that the BBC heard about our project and they invited us to present Requiem at the Barbican Center with the BBC orchestra and chorus. And so we did that in May, and now it's going to come home for its American premiere at Jordan Hall in November.
That is brilliant. And what are the for the sites that people are seeing, the often unseen sites? What will people be seeing along the trail, the tour?
Well, we partnered with a local Boston startup. Their name is Havale, and they do augmented reality tours. So together we created this app where Whitesnake commissioned people like Thea, who are incredibly creative people, to devise their perspective, their uniquely Indigenous perspective on many sites that Bostonians and people from all around the world take for granted. Like, just to give you one small example, Faneuil Hall, okay? People call it the cradle of liberty, but what is a lesser known fact is that Faneuil Hall was built on the proceeds of slavery.
Right.
And it was a slave market, and the first slaves that were sold there were in our Indigenous communities.
Thea, I would like to get to your music, which is a wonderful part of this. And you know what? Let's hear some of one of your songs first, and then we'll talk.
Great.
This is The Great Elm.
Long ago in Boston town, the great elm stood tall and proud, a symbol of liberty. Yet the great elm became a hanging tree.
That's pretty powerful. It's well, let me just have you just talk about that song,
Sure.
about the Great Elm.
Well, this is one of the stops on the Indigenous Walking Tour, and it's one of two stops that I provided music for. When I started to research the history of the Great Elm, I found out exactly beyond it being a symbol of liberty on Boston Common, when Boston Common was a cow pasture and a marketplace gathering, that it also became an execution site, and specifically affecting Native Americans during King Philip's War in 1675, 1676. And so because of the situation at that time, there were a number of Indigenous people that were executed there, including Tantamus, who was a Nipmuc elder. And so, one of the things that I think about in terms of that tree is the contradiction of democracy and how it's applied and how it is not applied. And so that's really part of what I wanted to tell in the song.
What does it mean for you to be a part of this project, to be a voice in this project?
It's wonderful to be a part of this project because it's an essential part of American history. It's our history. It's all of our histories as citizens of this country. So I think the more that we're able to expand our awareness and our knowledge, it also helps to increase our sense of connection, and it gives us a starting point to start to resolve maybe unresolved conflicts that have not been confronted before. And I think the way that this is done, people have a choice, they have an opportunity to discover more about local Boston Indigenous history through this. Yeah.
Truth and reconciliation.
Yes, you can. Yes, I can think you can think of it that way too. Yes.
I want to hear another one of these songs. This one is called. This is Deer Island. Is that the name?
Yes, it's Deer Island. The song that I have for this is a song called "Blossoms and Ghosts."
Roses scattered on a grave. Tomorrow is now yesterday. As the first snows fall and spin, as winter rushes in, blossoms and ghosts.
I love that.
Oh, thank you.
It's great. Great production too.
Yes.
So you're telling Wampanoag stories to a broader public.
I am. Yes, that's part of what I do as a performing songwriter. Yes.
Cerise, actually, is a question I have for both of you. I mean, it's really impossible not to see the contrast with what you're doing here in telling this American history, or looking at the way American history used to be told, with a lot of what's happening across our park services and what the Trump administration has been pushing a different version of American history, and removing some of these stories, some of the stories of the slaves and indigenous people from so many of our landmarks. I'm not sure if were you thinking about this as being a counter narrative or to restore a narrative in some sense?
Absolutely. I saw the occasion of the 250th anniversary as an opportunity to really push back. I think art is ultimately an act of resistance. And we would be failing our obligation having the privilege of our platform if we didn't speak out. And this is definitely, I think, one of the most effective ways of speaking out, because we're not preaching at people. We're using Thea's beautiful music and our other two indigenous creators' music as well to tell a different side of the story, to make Americans aware that it's not all just rah, rah, hurrah, because for many people, it is not a celebration.
Well, if somebody, I'll play devil's advocate, were to say, oh, I mean, King Philip's War is one of the most shameful chapters in Massachusetts history. Why do we want to talk about that? We should be celebrating what's great about America. I'm not saying that. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Right. I think it's very important to simply confront the facts as they are, because I think that really gives you a sense of confidence that you can confront them. I think when things are buried, they end up resurfacing in very unsettling ways, but they will end up resurfacing and affecting you more than had you dealt with them. And it doesn't mean you have to deal with them all at once. It can take a bit of time to kind of walk into a situation and then find solutions which are going to help you move forward. And I think collectively this is part of what Whitesnake's project is doing. I mean, I think this is the part of the effort behind that. It's not only providing a broader understanding of local indigenous history, but it's designed really to help expand knowledge for everyone without having to be confrontational. You are able to enter into these facts in this way. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I wanted to add too that I think it's important during this time, and I hope people are reflecting on how our country was built and how it became the country that we love today, that there are dark sides as well as good sides. And you need to look at the totality in order to truly understand what America is.
When you're writing these songs, is the process in a way like that, like a process of discovery?
Sometimes it is. When I was writing the song "The Great Elm," once I started reading more and more history about this symbol, I wrote the song over 2 days. And it was because I needed to really express my feelings about this once I started to discover more and more facts behind it. It was something I was really, in this situation, I was really compelled to do. When I wrote Blood, Blossoms and Ghost, that was really, it's an unfolding of what happened because of the indigenous people that were brought over to the Harbor Islands and imprisoned. And these were praying Indians. These were Indians that had converted to Christianity, but because of the circumstances, they were still perceived as a continued threat. So they were brought over there in the fall of 1675, and then many died during the winter, and then those that did survive returned to their communities in the spring. So.
That singer-songwriter, Thea Hopkins, we've been speaking with her and with Cerise Jacobs, founding artistic director for Whitesnake Projects. Cerise and Thea, it's been great talking with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Arun.
Really
My pleasure.
Arun, thank you so much for having us.
And I'm looking over here, and I'm seeing Kelly Crossley. Hello, Kelly Crossley.
Hi, Arun. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Okay.
You must be here for the Culture Show.
I am. We're live here at the library.
Brilliant. What's coming up?
Well, we have to do a big thing about the Odyssey and people making Odysseys of their own to make sure they see it in Christopher Nolan's preferred format, which is hard to do. We're talking about the 75th anniversary of The Catcher in the Rye and Froyo revitalization.
I love it. I'm a classics nerd, as you know, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, good.
Brilliant. Thank you. The Curiosity Desk, that does it for us for now. The Curiosity Desk is produced by Aidan Connolly, Rachel Armani, Olivia Corcio, and Hannah Loss. Our intern is Mukta Dharmapurakur. Patty Daniels and Jamie Bologna are there to clear the yellow haze from our sky. Our engineer is John the Claw Parker. Special thanks to Andrew Massawa, Patrick Lale, Maddie Geyer, and Cullen Cottrell. Thanks to our hosts at the Newsfeed Cafe, to the security team, Darius and Derek, and the fabulous team at the Lennox across the street. And to all of you who came out today to join us here at the library. Edgar will be back on Monday. If you can't wait that long, you've got a podcast version of our show you can check out. Until then, I'm Arun Roth, in for Edgar B. Herwick III. Stay curious.
Around town. We're talking all things arts and culture on The Culture Show. Next on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you. And the Boston Speaker Series, announcing its upcoming season at Symphony Hall for 7 evenings, featuring Pete Buttigieg, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Doris Kearns-Goodwin, and financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin. BostonSpeakers.org.
Love and civil war collide in Bellini's virtuoso masterpiece of vocal fireworks and madness. Don't miss I Puritani on Great Performances at the Met, tomorrow at 8 on GBH 44.
You're listening to 89.7 WGBH HD1 Boston. Online at gbhnews.org. GBH News. What matters to you?
I'm Callie Crossley. Coming up on the
With the latest from the GBH Culture Show News Desk, I'm Henry Santoro.
The sky is falling faster. No use yelling at the clouds. The boys are in their uniforms. Trash talking up the crowds. Just a console. Living in a cruel town. You better watch your mouth, boy. You better keep your head down. Good trouble. Good trouble.
That's the protest song Good Trouble by Boston-based rocker and activist Dave Herlihy. And if you consider yourself a good troublemaker, you're invited to the Waltham Common on Saturday, July 18th for an event featuring voter registration fairs, a picnic lunch, and a remembrance of those who have been killed by ICE. It's also an event to remember the late civil rights activist John Lewis, who died 6 years ago on July 17th. He was a statesman who served in the United States House of Representatives for Georgia's 5th Congressional District from 1987 until his death 6 years ago. And it just so happens that the film about John Lewis is also called Good Trouble.
My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
You'll learn how we can protect our elections, how to help turn out the vote, mobilize networks, and reclaim democracy. It all starts at 11 a.m., goes until 1 p.m., and yes, Dave Herlihy will perform, as will Dave Tugas. Just a program note, Dave Herlihy will be my guest on The Culture Show this coming Monday, July 20th at 2 p.m., when I fill in for Jared Bowen. Also happening this Saturday, the 18th, is the Boston Little Saigon Annual Night Market in Dorchester. It's the closest thing to a Vietnamese street market you'll find in these parts, and it's happening right in Fields Corner. You'll find incredible street food like grilled skewers of delicious meats and vegetables, banh mi, and enough treats to satisfy your sweet tooth. There are live performances and line dances and local artisans, and it all starts after sunset and will go well into the night. That's this edition of the GBH News Weekly Friday Afternoon Culture Cast. I'm Henry Santoro. Next up, The Culture Show.
I'm Callie Crossley. Coming up on The Culture Show, Christopher Nolan takes on literature's most famous voyage home, turning the Odyssey into a sweeping, storm-tossed journey through war, monsters, temptation, and the long pull of Ithaca. Shot entirely in the rarest, highest resolution film format and screening that way in only a handful of theaters, this colossal IMAX epic has inspired moviegoers to cross oceans for the full Nolan experience, turning the film's arrival this weekend into an odyssey of its own. From Odysseus' long journey home, we turn to another famous wanderer, Holden Caulfield, adrift in New York City. As the Catcher in the Rye turns 75, we revisit the lonely, rebellious teenager whose contempt for phonies still resonates with and divides readers across generations. Plus, frozen yogurt is swirling back into the spotlight as a wellness industry fave, We'll sample the Froyo Renaissance and ask whether it's actually healthier or just rebranded as a protein-forward indulgence. And from Wonderwall becoming England's unlikely anthem to Madonna, Shakira and BTS headlining the first World Cup final halftime show, we wrap soccer's biggest month of music, sport, and spectacle. We take on all that and more right now on our Weekend Review.
The Culture Show is made possible in part by a generous contribution from the Fiducia Fund, proud to support this station's arts and culture programming.
Welcome to the Culture Show, live from the Boston Public Library and streaming on GBH News YouTube channel. I'm Culture co-host Callie Crossley. Jared Bowen is away.
I'm Lisa Simmons.
And I'm James Sullivan.
We're going over the latest arts and culture headlines in our Weekend Review, starting with The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's colossal $250 million voyage through gods, monsters, and the long pull of home opens this weekend, riding a wave of rave reviews for its breathtaking scale and cinematic ambition. And seeing The Odyssey as Nolan intended has become an odyssey of its own, with fans crossing states and even oceans to reach the handful of theaters equipped to project it on 70 millimeter IMAX film. Let me stop there and just talk about the film itself.
Yes, because you got to see it already.
I have seen it. I wish I had seen it in the format that Nolan really wants us to see it in, because, that's supposed to make a difference. But it's quite the spectacle on its own. I will say that the rave reviews that everybody is giving it is a little weird to me, because, because I don't. It's a spectacle. You should see it. His direction is great. The big scenes of the wars and all of the stuff that's happening is amazing. Can't take anything away from that. All the A-list actors are on their game, but it has an odd disconnect, emotional disconnect. It feels like lots of spectacle. And what is this about again? So if you're a fan of action, I think you will enjoy it. You just disconnect and just go with the action.
Right.
But, there's a story here. There are themes here about, alienation and loyalty and war being bad and all of these things. And I have to tell you, I don't think that comes across. One last thing. We on this show talked about ahead of time, because we'd heard the rumor that they were going to be using this language, this common language, the mom and the dad. It's annoying. It's annoying. And it took me out of the space. I just think, I don't know what they could have used, but it made it, to me, it dumbed it down.
Well, that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know, what would they have used? I mean, the classic English accent of old epic films, that would seem a little odd today too, wouldn't it? So that's kind of the question, Callie. Like, what should they have done?
I mean, this is Christopher Nolan's rendition of the Odyssey, right? So I understand that, and I don't even think it's about that. I think it's, so many of his movies are really about creating this belonging, trying to on a journey, trying to figure things out. I mean, so I think that we have to go with that, right? I mean, I love the Odyssey, the Iliad. I think we all grew up reading that. It was text that you had to read in school. But I mean, I think for him and the types of movies that he makes, it's really about what movies are supposed to be, and creating, how people connect with each other in this world. And for him, I feel like he's thinking, this is this man who wants to get home, and he has this sense of longing, and he has all of these things that are going on, and war was bad, and who am I? He left when he was a young person. He came back as a man, ravaged by tragedy and war and all of these things. And
with an ever longer
with
beard.
an ever longer beard. And this is, I think that this is what he's trying. This is what his rendition of this is trying to do. But Odie from the Globe, I think, had the same reaction that you're having with this. But I really want to see it.
Yeah, listen.
3 hours.
What you've just described, you and James, I think, is Homer's idea. I don't know what Christopher Nolan, but let's this is a taste of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, released in theaters worldwide today. Let's listen.
Tell me what you remember.
A wife, a son,
And then what?
We won the war. Help me go home.
This is a household waiting for master. I want you to choose me.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
No, he's not.
So you get the majesty and all of that. I mean, it is a big screen film, so this is good. You should see it on the big screen, even if you can't see it on the IMAX format. And when I say IMAX, and people are saying IMAX is everywhere. No, it's a special kind of IMAX.
70 millimeter. So there's only like 41 in the
that's
country,
right.
and
So
one in Australia.
Exactly. So let's talk about that, because what we're hearing about are people who have made plans to travel to all kinds of places to get to one of these 41 theaters.
I mean, this is the thing too, right? He creates these big experiences where you have to be there. Like we need to get there. There's only 41, and so it becomes sort of like this badge of honor if you can actually go to a cocktail party or a barbecue and say like, oh yeah, I went. So he's doing that as well. Is like he's sort of like bringing back that whole epic movie that you need to be a part of, and if you're not, then you're missing out. And people are like, oh no, I really need to do that. So part of that is that, and maybe part of it is because he loves analog and he's tired of digital, and that this is the ultimate analog, format for you to do an epic movie like this.
He's got a great track record, obviously, with very big films. So people are willing to put in the time to make that effort, and I think Lisa's absolutely right. I think that just sort of the talking point of being able to say like, "Yep, check, I did that. I made the effort to cross state lines to go see this thing." That's and the film industry obviously can use a boost like that, and are very happy to take it right now.
Well, just to note, for our area, the closest one is in Providence. There's one in Providence, but otherwise you got to go far to find a place to do it. And I'd be interested, except it's 3 hours, and I'm not doing that again. So that's all I could say.
I'm going. All right, I'm going to do that for you, and then I'll let you know.
All right. The release of the Odyssey is sending readers back to Homer, that's the original, prompting fresh analysis of the original poem. And among them is writer and classicist Daisy Dunn, whose BBC essay explores the women who dominate the story with the seduction, schemes, and acts of resistance. And that's amazing to see these great actors doing these roles in the film.
I mean, I think one of the most beautiful things about the Odyssey is that, yes, this is the story of him trying to get home, but who helps him along the way, right? It's all these women who are so powerful in this story. You've got Athena and Penelope and Circe and Calypso and Helen, and they all have these roles, and without them, he wouldn't have this journey. So I'm hoping that comes forth in the film, that this was a big part of his life and how he found his way back home because of that.
I love the fact that people have been struggling online with, all these, made-up controversies about, is he sticking close enough to the script?
Right.
What about the casting? Is that, should he have cast so-and-so in certain roles? And, it's fiction, people. Like, it's a fictional story. It's not true history. It's mythology. So, and he has the track record, again, to show that he can do whatever he wants with a fictional story, I feel.
Well, the other thing about it is that because it's so jam-packed with A-listers, there are some people with very little time on screen, and Lupita Nyong'o is one of them. So as many people have pointed out, she's kind of in and out, and not in like a Viola doubt way, where you have some impact, you're there, and
that was
she's
one
doing
of the
her
biggest
job.
controversies, right?
Exactly.
She's not
she plays
even
Helen of Troy.
Right. Helen.
And it's like nothing. On the other hand, Samantha Morton in the scene playing Cerise, woohoo! That's a scene. She's going to get an award, I predict, for doing that. So we'll do that. But anyway, so you're right. I mean, I think Daisy's Dunn is right that you can see the import of the women in the film. But overall, it's very male, just for everybody to understand that's what it is. All right, now you brought up something, James, as is true, which is that this kind of film brings people back to the box office, and the theaters are beside themselves with joy because The box office successes thus far in 2026 are equaling that of 2019.
Right.
And that was the last, jam-packed year that really brought money in and brought people to the theaters. And a lot of that began with, as we mentioned here on this show some time ago, with films like Obsession. Now, this is the trailer for the breakout box office hit Obsession, a horror film which is among the films bringing people back into the theaters.
Have you ever actually flirted with Nikki? If she means this much to you, and I know she does, to say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Nikki, wait, I was gonna ask you,
What?
I lost my train of thought.
Alright.
Good night. What else?
Why? One wish, Willow. You only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
I love you so much. A love only the branch of a willow tree could conjure.
I'm not going to see it, but
I know you.
But it's driving the Gen Zers and the millennials back in huge numbers, and not just Obsession and Backroom. That's the other one that's gotten quite a bit of attention, another horror film. But we're talking about Toy Story 5, which got me back.
Yes.
So
well,
I
we're
could
also
cry
talking
again.
about Project Hail Mary, which
That's
sort of
right.
started all of this, and we're also talking about Michael, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But the question to me is, though, did people leave because of streaming, or did they leave because there just wasn't good content? Right? Was there what's going to get me off of my couch? Right? What do I know that I need to go see in the movies? I know I need to see The Odyssey. I know I need to see Project Hail Mary. I know I'm going to see Toy Story 3.
It is these tentpole movies.
It's those tentpole movies that you're going to say, I'm going to go do that. So, yes, I think theaters are beside themselves and happy, but how do we keep this going? How do we make sure that Hollywood is creating this opportunity, or independents like Backrooms and Obsession are creating this opportunity for people to have this communal feeling, right, and wanting to sit in a theater with other people?
Right. Well, James, I think that, however, is the reverse of that. It turns out that the Gen Zers think it's fun to go with people to the movie, because that's not the experience they've been having. And there's a lot of fatigue of just screen. So this is a big screen and a different kind of experience. Have you found that?
Yeah, and the Hollywood studios themselves were conflicted for a while. They couldn't figure out whether to put their films on, put them in the theater for 2 weeks and then put them on streaming a week later.
Yeah.
To try to maximize the streaming numbers, or go back to the model that they had before the pandemic, which was you had to wait. So you had to see it in the theaters, or you weren't going to see it for 6 months or so. I'll say that I just watched Backrooms with one of my sons, which is one of the horror movies that you mentioned. It's it's not quite at the level of but I mean, for a very small, micro-budgeted, formerly completely unknown filmmaker. It was, of that psychological horror style that this one particular son of mine really loves, and I was pretty impressed with a small budget film, but we didn't see it in the theater. We just saw it. It just became available to stream. So
interesting.
But I do think you have a good point there, because it is the Gen Zers are saying, I don't necessarily want to do streaming anymore, but they really want experiences. They want things, and that's what's getting them into the theater.
And TikTok.
Yes, and TikTok.
And seriously.
But no, seriously.
Yeah,
and it's sort of like,
yeah.
let's go together and let's have this experience together. And that's how it used to be, and that's how it should be. And we've always talked about that movies should be seen in a movie theater with a bunch of people, even if you don't necessarily know them, to have that, because you get that feeling and that experience by sitting in that room with other people.
Well, Lisa, you know this as a film. Running film festival as I do, a different one, obviously. Filmmakers love it when you watch their film in a room full of people rather than at home with a streaming link, because your experience is much different when you're in a room full of people and they're reacting in real time to
and you can feel that reaction.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing that filmmakers like. They like you to see it more than one time, and that's part of what's causing this big box office boom. So films like the Michael Jackson biopic. This is one of the movies keeping the box office alive. And the Michael Jackson biopic that has moonwalked past the $1 billion mark, becoming the first biographical film ever to do so. That success comes despite fierce criticism that the film sanitizes Jackson's legacy and objections from within his own family.
Let me tell you something.
In this life, you're either a winner or you're a loser. Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
I need to hear you a little louder. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
Do you know what I'm after? You want to be the biggest star in the world.
So people have seen this movie like a billion times
Yes.
over and over and over again.
Why wouldn't you want to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, there are some legitimate criticisms about it.
There are legitimate criticisms, but I think about those criticisms is that this is a time of Michael Jackson's life before all of that, right? So and they're already making a new piece. For me, seeing it was this sort of like that whole nostalgia, that remembrance of who Michael Jackson was, growing up with that music, singing to your vacuum cleaner, like all of those sorts of things. And there's so much music in it, which I think is what's bringing people back to it, right? Is that there's this story and there's not all this yuck in it. That there is this sort of like, you want to celebrate this person who was an icon and created all sorts of opportunities for other people in the music industry and was really quite a genius. When you watch the movie, you see that in him. And so I think that's why people are coming back to it. It's amazing that it's $1 billion. It's gonna surpass that, absolutely. It'll be very interesting to see what happens when the next one comes about. But yeah, again, it's that cultural memory. It's about people going back to the theater to have that cultural memory and bring them back to where they were in the 1980s, 1990s.
Well, here's the other thing that's happening, James. The songs are back up at the top of the charts again.
That's what I was going to say is that, you know, that music is, it's been decided that, you know, no matter what happened or didn't happen in Michael's personal life, that music is universally beloved. And, you know, that's a done deal. Like, you know, that music is going to last forever. And that's what people are celebrating by watching this film. And I think you're exactly right, Lisa. I don't think anybody necessarily wanted to see the film version that went into all of the dirt and you know the controversy.
And you don't, because we felt like with the Whitney Houston biopic, it was like I didn't want to see all that. I wanted to hear the music. I wanted it to bring me back to where it was. I mean, he's the most, you know, known person in history.
Can I just say really quickly how much do we love Coleman Domingo?
Oh, yes.
Right?
He was great.
Playing the dad, Joe. Yeah.
He's everywhere this season.
He sure is.
Doing it. Leading the box office to the predicted right now, $10 billion at the end of the year, they're saying now.
Wow.
Well, because of all of these films, and Michael is a big part of that.
Wow.
So actor Sam Neill has died at 78. He's best known as the wry paleontologist Alan Grant in Jurassic Park. He built a long and varied career that also included Dead Calm, The Piano, and Peaky Blinders. I mean, he was great. He was great. Let's play an iconic scene from the great Sam Neill in 1993's blockbuster hit Jurassic Park.
He moves like a bird, lightly bobbing his head. And you keep still because you think that maybe his visual acuity is based on movement, like T-Rex, and he'll lose you if you don't move. But no, not Velociraptor. You stare at him, and he just stares right back. And that's when the attack comes, not from the front, but from the side. From the other two raptors, you didn't even know were there.
Oof. And I remember him in The Piano, where he played a completely different character. I mean, everybody in the business so far who's come out with tributes seem to honor him both as a person and as an esteemed actor. So it's a real loss. So 78, he could still have gone many years in his career.
He has 4 films in the can, ready to come out.
Right.
Posthumously. So speaking of The Piano, in his autobiography, Sam wrote something that I thought was pretty sweet and worth noting about The Piano. He said, it was like a medal on my chest to be a part of that film because it was about feminist issues and his native country of New Zealand. So that's pretty nice. And then the other thing that you just said, Callie, about what a nice, genuinely nice person he seemed to be. He just said in an interview at some point, not too much in the recent past, he said, "I hope people will say I was kind when I'm gone," and that seems to pretty much sum it up.
They certainly have said that. They have said he is warm. He like made wine and gave it to people. I mean, this is again another one of these like sort of, you know, cultural icons, right? I mean, Jurassic Park came on the scene, and it was this like earthquake, and it made him bigger, larger than life, and all of them, it made them larger than life. And so, again, it's something that losing him feels like you're losing someone in your family or a close friend because you became so connected with him.
Something else connected to him. Sam Neill's most famous role helped make paleontology part of the popular culture. And this week, a real T-Rex named Gus made headlines, selling to a mystery bidder for a record $50.1 million. Now,
where is this hiding? How does this hide?
Yeah, I know. How can you be the mystery buyer?
No, but I mean, how does it even hiding underneath the world, like in a mound of dirt? Like
before they dug it up on a South Dakota ranch.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that I can understand, but where you put this now is another thing. I will say, on a recent trip to Seattle, we went by a house facing the river, glass, and there's a full-size dinosaur in there. Not quite as big as Gus, but so people can find space for it.
I mean, this is the issue, though, right? Is like, should it be in a private collector or should it be in a museum? I mean, should just one person own it and have it in their living room, or should it be? I mean, that's also the controversy.
Well, maybe they'll put it in a museum.
Well, let's hope they put it in a museum. $50 million.
There you go.
I kind of want them to put it in their living room and then visit the person's house.
All righty. Coming up, probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics, influencers, and the wellness industry are putting a new twist on frozen yogurt and creating a craze. The return of the swirl is next on The Culture Show. Stay with us.
The Culture Show is made possible in part by a generous contribution from the Fiducia Fund, proud to support this station's arts and culture programming.
Next time on In Common, for lots of the world, insects are a major food group. So why not in Massachusetts?
Consumers are actually more open to it than you would think.
Foodies on the Cape and in Boston help us get over the ick factor. Plus, a debut novel set in Western Mass.
It felt a lot more natural to be writing about home.
Natural, even though it is a disaster story. That's In Common, Saturday at 2 on GBH 89.7.
Funding for our programs comes from you.
And the David M. Rubenstein Americana Collection in support of the JFK Library's exhibit Declaring the Revolution, America's Printed Path to Independence, featuring historic documents that inspired the Declaration of Independence. jfklibrary.org. And Boston Landmarks Orchestra, presenting its 25th anniversary season-opening concert, The Best of Boston, on July 22nd at 7 at the DCR Hatch Shell. Picnics and pets welcome. More at landmarksorchestra.org.
And New England Recovery Center, providing inpatient addiction treatment in state-of-the-art facilities located in Westboro, Mass. Learn more at newenglandrecoverycenter.org or by calling 1-877-MY-REHAB.
Wherever you are, you can stream GBH 89.7 on the GBH News app. From your kitchen to your commute, stay connected with expert interviews and trusted local news. Download the GBH News app today on the App Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to The Culture Show. I'm Culture Show co-host Callie Crossley. Jared Bowen is away. We are live from our GBH studio at the Boston Public Library and streaming on the GBH News YouTube channel. I'm joined by contributor Lisa Simmons, the artistic and executive director of the Roxbury International Film Festival and program manager at the Mass Cultural Council. I'm also joined by contributor James Sullivan, a journalist and author specializing in popular culture and Americana. He's also on the faculty of Emerson College. If you're just tuning in, it's our Arts and Culture Week in Review, which includes Catcher in the Rye at 75. J.D. Salinger's novel helped define the modern voice of adolescence, turning Holden Caulfield's distrust of adult hypocrisy into an enduring American archetype. Generations of readers have recognized themselves in him, argued with him, and borrowed his language, keeping the book both canonical and contested. James, I know you're bursting to tell me why we should care at 75.
Oh, of course.
Well, I mean, we all read, a lot of us have read books when we were, coming of age. that if you revisit them 10, 20, 30 years later, they don't necessarily hold up as well. And I think this one does. It's such an American classic. Holden's voice is so strong. I loved in the intro you're talking about borrowing the language. I mean, there's so much funny mid-century American slang in that book. I was looking at a list of being reminded of some of the terms that Salinger used or put in Holden's mouth. Crumb bum, calling somebody a crumb bum, like that's amazing. I love that kind of archaic slang like that. And there's just so many great things in this book. Another thing I think that's very important to point out is that despite the light tone and the weirdness of Holden's worldview, he also struggled with most likely some form of depression, right? At a time when no one was talking about that. We talk about mental health issues all the time now, to our credit. We talk about it openly and plainly, and nobody did at the time. But I think, in hindsight, you would say that Holden was a kid who needed some help.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is incredibly generational. I mean, in the 50s, it was sort of like this rebellion against conformity. In the 70s, it was like this symbol of youth rejecting establishment. And then it became a portrait of adolescence and depression in the 90s. And now, if you're reading it, I think you're exactly right, that it's really people are looking at it as mental health. And he did suffer. I mean, he suffered the death of his brother. There were all these sorts of things. So I think in every generation can see themselves in this book. What I think is really interesting is that Salinger would never allow it to be made into a movie, right, James? So, you think of like Lord of the Flies, that's now all these ones that we sort of all read at the same time. But he said absolutely not, because Holden had such inner turmoil, right?
I wonder if that's part of the longevity of the book.
Right.
That you put an idea of, like, people think about their favorite books from their teen years and their early adulthood from the film version. But you can't do that with this one because Steven Spielberg wanted to make it. He couldn't get the rights to it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's always yours, right? It's never projected on you as it is somebody else. So
it's interesting to me because this was never resonant for me. I recognize it as in the canon. I recognize, I really, particularly now when I got older, recognized that mental health piece of it. But this again there's nothing wrong with something being really male. It's really male. and I need to give me a little space to come in, JD. I just felt like it was so male. It was hard for me always, and maybe I read it too young, and then it just still didn't do it for me later. But I am very interested always when books like these that are now deemed classics have so much embedding in the culture today.
Yes.
And so the use of the terminology and how he interacted or didn't with the people is very much part of something that we recognize now and still talk about. So obviously 75th anniversary of this book has deep meaning for our cultural resonance and our and what we understand to be part of American literature.
Right.
This is what I would
exactly.
say. Yeah.
I think it exactly is.
All right. Speaking of J.D. Salinger, a new mural in Jamaica Plain brings together Barack Obama, an admirer of Salinger, and Anthony Bourdain, a writer with his own sharp eye for hypocrisy. The artwork recreates their memorable 2016 lunch in Hanoi, which was filmed for Bourdain's TV series Parts Unknown. Let's take a listen to that. This is Anthony Bourdain enjoying a meal with Barack Obama in Vietnam on the 2016 episode of Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown.
As the father of a young girl, is it all going to be okay? It's all going to work out. My daughter will be able to come here in 5 years, 10 years. She'll be able to have a bowl of bun cha, and the world will be a better place.
I think progress is not a straight line. There are going to be moments at any given part of the world where things are terrible. But having said all that, I think things are going to work out.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Cheers.
So the essence of that vibe is captured now on a mural on 2 buildings in Jamaica Plain. It looks lovely. I can't wait to go see it in person. It was commissioned. Thoughtfully done by an artist who calls himself Soames.
Lee Baird.
And wow, I love this.
We so need this. right now, just hearing Obama's voice. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's sort of like it says a lot of what we've been talking about, sort of like this going back to nostalgia, going back to a time when maybe things were simpler, and this whole concept and an idea that we don't listen to each other, and that Anthony Bourdain was always trying to use food to bring people together and to bring us to places that we maybe not would ever go to or have been said that aren't great places. And he's like, no. And I love them sitting in those little chairs, right? It's sort of like this equalizer. Like it's you might be the president of the United States and I might be Anthony Bourdain, but we're here.
In a little cafe in Vietnam, right?
In a little cafe in Vietnam, having a conversation just about, is the world going to be okay? And then and answering that so freely, it just felt so authentic. And I think that that's what people are looking for. So the mural makes you go back to that, right? So you're going to go back to that just like we just did and hear it and be like, oh, right, hopefully. And I think that seems to be what they were trying to do.
The guy who commissioned the mural is the developer who is supposedly working towards bringing back the beloved Doyle's pub.
Yes, that's right.
Next to the Midway Cafe. And so good for him for envisioning this and hopefully kind of kickstarting the process of actually bringing back Doyle's, which has been gone for 6 or 7 years now, I think. We certainly miss Bourdain's voice for the reasons that Lisa just spelled out, and we also miss more of Obama's voice. I mean, he does speak out occasionally, but I'd love to hear from him a little more often than we do.
In these kinds of settings as well, talking about sort of life issues and community issues. This is all about community.
Right.
It's beautifully rendered, so I'm anxious to see it, and I think everybody should go down and just take a look at it.
Right, no, exactly.
Do we want to point out that there's a biopic of Bourdain coming out?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
that's right. Yes.
Set in his early years in the kitchen in Provincetown, which is the basis for his breakthrough book, Kitchen Confidential. And that's coming right away, right? So within a couple weeks or so, right?
Right.
And yes, and the lead actor is from here.
Yes.
Yes. From around. Yeah.
What's the kid's name? I forget.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he's the young man who was in The Holdovers.
Holdovers.
Yes.
Yeah. And was an unknown non-actor when he was in the whole, and now he's an actor, obviously, and he's playing a young Anthony Bourdain.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So it's all this good stuff. I would love it if they screened it down there. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, like an outdoor screening.
Yeah. Okay. Frozen yogurt is back again. This time, the swirl of enthusiasm is being fueled by protein, probiotics, and promises of better gut health. Once marketed as the low-fat alternative to ice cream, Froyo is being repackaged for the wellness age. Now, before we talk about this, we must play the clip from the 1993 Seinfeld episode, The Non-Fat Yogurt, when Jerry and Elaine run into Newman and his friends at a suspiciously tasty frozen yogurt spot.
Hello, Newman.
Hello, Jerry. Hey, this yogurt is really something, huh? And it's non-fat. I've been waiting for something like this my whole life, and it's finally here.
I'll have a small plain vanilla in a cup to go. That's non-fat, right?
That's right.
Because I'm on a special diet, and the doctor said I can't have any fat.
Yeah, well, there's no fat.
Hey, another round of strawberry for me and my friends.
Well, if you know the episode, spoiler here, it turns out it had some fat in it, and they start exploding toward the end of the episode from eating it too much. But this new reiteration or this new iteration of frozen yogurt by the wellness people is supposed to be healthier and has all this good gut health. So if nothing else, if you take away the emphasis on fat or no fat, the gut health piece of it is really important, as many doctors will tell you.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay. What do you think about the revolution?
What do I think about the revolution? I think it's the same revolution that we're seeing everywhere, like what we're talking about today. It's really about nostalgia. It's really about going back. I mean, I remember Pinkberry and Red Mango. Who didn't love those yogurt shops? I mean, it was like finally I can actually indulge in something and not feel guilty about it. You know, it was like it came out during like Jane Fonda, and Jane Fonda was doing her wellness
workout
stuff.
videos, right?
All those videos. So, you know, I think it really is one of those like Doyle's, right? It was like one of those third places where teenagers could go hang out and you could go on a date. And so it's like another one of those things that's like bringing back this sort of nostalgia. And I feel like it's all happening because we are living in such an unstable world that people are really reaching back to sort of like go back to these places. So if Froyo does that for you, like, go for it.
I love the fact that this writer that the story that we're looking at calls it the third wave of frozen yogurt, like it's some major cultural issue, like third wave of feminism or something.
Well, it is on a certain level because it's really. It became on its first wave, a real part of American culture, food culture, and I would argue that it really never went away. But there is in this version of it. There are some truths too. You can argue about the fat part of it once again, but the truths about the gut health, if in fact there is enough of these probiotics and prebiotics, that is a good thing. We know more about that now that we didn't know before.
And I do think you used to be able to throw a dime and you'd be at a frozen yogurt shop. Now we don't see any of them anymore. So it is kind of nice that they're coming back. Maybe they'll open new stores. Who knows?
And Berry Line has a line all the time in Cambridge. Those are the MIT guys that did Berry Line. So they've been doing well since the beginning. All right, Spotify is testing a new way to make playlists. Instead of searching and scrolling, premium users can simply tell the app what they want to hear. Now, again, this is the AI devil raising its head, if we want to consider it in that way. But it's kind of, a good way to organize oneself if you can say, okay, this is what I want to hear in this order. And most people kind of sort of know what that is, and you don't have to go get it, pull it out of this list and that list and this list. It's premium users I want to emphasize, so that means there's some you're paying for the privilege of being able to do that.
James wants to talk about
I know James is mad about it. Go ahead, James.
Well, I mean, this gets me onto my Spotify hobby horse. I actually just so Spotify, for a number of reasons that have probably been covered on this show, is not the greatest streaming service, and I have a problem with AI making decisions for you. I really can't stand letting the algorithm choose your playlists based on a few things that you streamed yourself, and then.
But in this case, you tell it.
Sure, I get that. But you can also tell it to just create you a playlist based on your algorithmic choices. So I recently switched to Apple Music, and it was much smoother. I was led to believe that it was going to be this multi-day giant headache. It's not. No, it's very simple actually. So for those of you who are concerned about Spotify's, they have the lowest rate of pay for musicians.
Interesting.
The royalty rate is lowest at Spotify of all the streaming services. The lead guy at Spotify is investing in AI technology for military use. So there's a number of reasons, but however, I understand that people really enjoy, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I love enjoying the convenience of streaming services. But I know I'm lucky in that it's part of my job to curate my own listening, watching habits. And I know that most regular people who have other jobs don't have time to do that, but I have a hard time letting the algorithm curate my playlist. I want to do it myself. I want to physically take the songs and place them in the right order.
Well, that also comes back to nostalgia, like when you used to make mixtapes.
Of course.
But I do think, I think this is where you can say AI is not so evil. I think people being able to say, play me a song that feels like a Sunday rainy afternoon, right? I love Earth, Wind & Fire. I need to listen to Earth, Wind & Fire right now. So if you're busy, if you don't have that time to do that, I think there is some positivity in this part of using AI and Spotify that you'll be able to do that. And it's right. And they're not creating the music. They're curating something for you that you're asking it to curate.
But James just pointed out they're not paying the people who do create the music.
That part, of course, we know is completely awful. Okay. But we're talking about the AI version.
The discovery part is real. If you say, I love Earth, Wind & Fire, what else can I listen to? And then Spotify or the AI or the algorithm will feed you a few other songs that you maybe didn't. Maybe they're newer, or maybe they're a less famous band from Earth, Wind & Fire's heyday, and you say, "Oh, I also love that. That's great. That's real." And, but you can also go out and find those on your own.
Discovery part of it, right? Where you're just listening to music or you're listening to something, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that artist existed." Right. If you're constantly curating for what you think you like, you're right. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all I can say is it may be moot because it's premium users, so that means you got to pay more for it. So we'll see. Coming up, Shakira is returning to the World Cup arena along with Madonna and BTS for the soccer tournament's first ever halftime show. That and more is coming up on our Weekend Review. Stay with us.
For an institution intended to hold world leaders accountable, some say the International Criminal Court has fallen short.
Is it imperfect? Yes. Are there improvements to be made? Yes.
But still call it a necessary check on war-hungry leaders.
We are better off with an institution that can strive towards that promise of never again.
Judging the International Criminal Court next time on The World.
This afternoon at 3, here on GBH News 89.7.
Our programs are made possible thanks to you.
And MIT Sloan Executive Education, offering 2 to 3 day courses and executive certificates for professionals seeking cutting-edge business insights on innovation, cybersecurity, AI, and more. Info at executive.mit.edu. And PNC Bank, who believes when you pay attention to the details, amazing things can happen. Like when you check the pockets of a jacket you haven't worn since last fall and find $20. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865.
And the Boston Symphony Orchestra, presenting concerts at Tanglewood all summer long. Highlights include the BSO and Pops, classical soloists, and the Popular Artist Series. More at tanglewood.org.
Breaking news, deep conversations, and the stories that matter to you. GBH News, always on the radio at 89.7, available on the GBH News YouTube channel and online at gbhnews.org.
I'm Culture Show co-host Callie Crossley. Jared Bowen is away. We are live from our GBH studio at the Boston Public Library and streaming on the GBH News YouTube channel. If you're just tuning in, it's our Arts and Culture Week in Review. I'm joined by co-host, Culture Show contributor Lisa Simmons, and journalist and author James Sullivan. And we're going over the latest headlines, including this.
Because maybe gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my
Wonderwall became the unlikely anthem of England's World Cup run, with fans singing it after every win. What do y'all think about that?
Sure. You know, it's quintessentially English. So that makes a lot of sense. The Brits have a long history of adopting huge pop hits for their favorite soccer anthem as their favorite football anthems, I should say, right? You'll Never Walk Alone, Jerry and the Pacemakers from the 60s has been Liverpool's rally song for decades. There's a lot of great examples. Wonderwall is, it's a memorable song, and it's relatively easy to sing, so it makes perfect sense. It's kind of got that flat inflection.
I think you're right. I mean, I think that's the most important part of it, right? You can't have a complicated song that's going to be it's like Sweet Caroline. Like we have Sweet Caroline for the Gloucester Red Sox, and it defines like who you are as a culture. So I think that Wonderwall, they saw that it's about hope, it's about uncertainty. It's about needing somebody to believe in, and that's exactly what I think this English soccer team was, right? And so the Wonderwall sort of like speaks to the fans and the culture of that, just like Sweet Caroline speaks to us and the Boston Red Sox, and then, and that whole like so good becomes this sort of like cult-like chant, and it makes people feel like they're together and they're in something together and that they're connected. Just like all the other stories sort of that we've been talking about, it really is about this connection.
Well, this is as a reminder, this is Oasis's iconic track Wonderwall we just heard, but here, and the England fans had made it a veritable soccer anthem, singing it. Here they are.
There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how.
I love that.
I loved seeing this when they won and went into the semifinals, and the whole team just stood next to each other and sang to the fans in the crowd. It was brilliant. It was beautiful.
So now they're playing. England is sadly playing in the consolation game.
It's okay, but they're still there.
I know, but are they going to sing it?
Yes, because you could because maybe you're going to be the one that saves me.
Yeah.
Hello, James.
Thank you, Callie. It's about hope.
It's the consolation game.
All right. The World Cup moved the goalposts on Sports Spectacular, has it? Before Sunday's final, Tom Cruise, Jennifer Hudson, Post Malone, and more was leading a star-packed closing ceremony. And then Madonna, Shakira, BTS, Justin Bieber, and a parade of global performers take over for the tournament's first ever halftime show. This is something.
It is something, but you have these traditional soccer fans that are, or football soccer fans that are like, what the game itself is what is actually the entertainment and the excitement. I mean, I think it's just another way to bring different audiences into this world, right? And we're doing the World Cup here in the U.S., and that's going to actually turn in so many more people that are understanding and wanting to watch soccer. So I mean, I think it's interesting. They're afraid that it's going to go over. I mean, that's a lot of people to put in a it's definitely going to go over. Put in a halftime show. But I think it's really sort of like these sports trying to embrace celebrity and trying to bring in new audience, just like Taylor Swift brought in a whole new audience for the NFL.
Yeah. Isn't this a very American, though, James? A halftime show?
Very. I mean, what has the Super Bowl wrought? You know, I mean, like, more people watch the Super Bowl now to find out. And, the NFL was smart for booking Bad Bunny, because knowing that there was going to be controversy around that, even though there was nothing controversial about the actual performance, but people were going to talk about it and want to make sure that they didn't miss it. It's bizarre. It's a little bit bizarre that soccer feels the need to, but it is a very American thing to throw a whole bunch of celebrities at something that doesn't necessarily need it. I mean, the soccer has been amazing to watch with, just for the game itself and the celebrities on the field. So
isn't that going to throw them off? I mean, how long? I don't even know how long this.
Yeah, I think the halftime is going to be way longer than it normally is. It's not a particularly long halftime.
That's what I thought.
Right.
So we usually do 15 or 20 minutes for football.
For football, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So that's about what it's expected.
Right. And what is Tom Cruise going to do? I'm sure he's going to
Well, he's going to do what he did in the Olympics. He's going to come in and parachute.
It's going to be Madonna, Shakira, BTS, Justin Bieber.
And then Tom Cruise.
Yeah, well, he can stand around. It's nothing, or drop in.
That's what he's going to do.
Drop in. He's going to drop in. But we don't know. That's the whole point. That's why you're going to watch it.
Well, and while the World Cup prepares to crown its champion, the ESPYs have honored the year's standout athletes and stories. Jalen Brunson and Asia Wilson took the top competitive awards, while Jason Collins, Jim Abbott, and Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin were recognized for courage, perseverance, and service. I love Asia Wilson.
I know you do. I love this. I think the Knicks and the Knicks won. I think for best team or whatever. And also Alyssa Liu. I mean, who doesn't? What a great breakthrough comeback story for her. I mean, I think the ESPYs are great. I mean, they're the Oscars for sports. That's what they wanted them to be. They always wanted them to be that. And now it's even. You have celebrities dating sports stars. It's just it's all getting so intertwined, and it's becoming a big spectacle and a big. Awards.
I have to say, I'm a huge lifelong Celtics fan, and so, all credit to the Knicks, and they did kind of sweep the ESPYs this year, and deservedly so. And I think it's worth mentioning again, the late Jason Collins was awarded, who was a Celtic briefly, but first, I believe he was the first NBA player to come out, and passed away recently, and he won the Arthur Ashe Courage Award, so that's pretty amazing. And the other thing I want to say about the ESPYs is that the host this year, the comedian host, Marcelo Hernandez, an SNL cast member. So last year, pretty famously, the comedian Shane Gillis was the host, and he roasted a bunch of the superstar celebrity athletes who were in the theater at the time. And went viral for that. Well, it went over well from a comedy standpoint.
From his comedy standpoint.
Yeah, I think some of the athletes were a little put back by how forward he was and how much he made them the butt of the jokes. And Marcelo Hernandez, if you get a chance, you might want to look it up. He actually made a great joke about Shane Gillis being his predecessor.
I think it's all good. It's all good.
That was wonderful. Anyway, I'm so happy for the Knicks and how they comported themselves, and they were deserving of this award. All right, now it's time for our Weekend Preview with a roundup of our recommendations for upcoming arts and culture happenings. Lisa, what are you looking forward to?
I have two, and I'm going to be really quick. Company One is at it again with an amazing new show by Miranda Adekoje. She is a writer and a filmmaker. This is free. It opens this weekend, July 18th at the Strand. It's like their 6th program that's at the Strand, so please make sure you check that out. They do amazing work. And then the other big thing is that the Roxbury Library is having their dedication to Sarah Ann Shaw, which is happening tomorrow, Saturday at 10 a.m. And if you can't go, there's a live link on boston.gov. But remember, Sarah Ann had her first TV appearance in 1968, was it, on Say Brother? And so we definitely want to honor that and make sure that people know that that's happening.
James, what cultural event are you recommending?
So I'm actually going to recommend my own cultural event this week. I wrote a book about protest music a few years ago, and my friend Joyce Linehan and I created a series called Which Side? A Protest Music Teach-Out, featuring Boston musicians playing their favorite and also their own original protest songs. And we are actually celebrating our 1-year anniversary, doing the shows monthly. Next week at the brand new Boston Lyric Opera's theater space. We've been doing the shows at the Burren and Davis Square. And they've been sold out consistently because people seem to be interested in the subject of talking about music and activism. And so we're for this one time only, we're throwing ourselves a birthday party at the brand new Boston Lyric Opera. Beautiful theater space in Fort Point. And for those of you who might be listening who have been saying, I've been trying to come to one of those shows, but they keep selling out really quickly, this is your chance, because the tickets are available still, because it's a much bigger space than we usually use. So our website is www.whichside.boston if you're interested.
Okay. Nice. I'm just going to shout out the World Cup watch party, the last one. The city has done well in trying to make spots for people to watch in community, what we've been talking about earlier, and this will be in Charleston. And I think there's another happening in Somerville as well, smaller, but you know, the official one, last one, is in Charlestown, which I think is going to be quite interesting. I want to just play a little bit of Day Day, the official song for the 2026 World Cup, since we're talking about it, by World Cup's finals halftime show co-headliner Shakira. Just a halftime show is going to be pretty daggone good.
I know.
With
and
Shakira
the great thing about Shakira is
it.
that she's not new to soccer, right? She's been doing this since 2010, right?
I mean, the game's going to be better.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, that's what we're doing right now. Question: did any of y'all either of you go to a game?
No.
Okay.
I just went
to see my son. One of my sons was in Barcelona this past semester. I got to see the Barca team live over there. That was amazing. Great experience.
Did they win? I forgot. Did they win or lose?
Well, Spain is in the finals.
In the finals.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, that was La Liga. That was Spain.
No, I just watch it like this because I get too nervous.
Oh yeah, no, it's too confusing for me. All righty then. Well, that's it for this edition for the Culture Show. Thank you again to my guests today, my guest co-hosts, Lisa Simmons and James Sullivan. A reminder that our next Wednesday watch party is next Wednesday, July 29th, and that's when we'll revisit Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and tune in Monday for best-selling author Brad Meltzer on his latest children's book, celebrating Teddy Roosevelt. Thanks today to Henry Santoro for curating our Culture Cast. Our engineer is Bill Piacitelli. The BPL technical and logistics crew is Maddie Geyer, Pat Lawley, Cullen Cockrell, Sandra Lopez-Burke, Juan Jose Cadena, and Hannah Eckert. And thanks to the Lenox Hotel and the Newsfeed Cafe. I'm Callie Crossley. Have a busy Culture and Arts weekend.
The Culture Show is made possible in part by a generous contribution from the Fiducia Fund, proud to support this station's arts and culture programming.
Where's Mary? Where is she? Where is she? She's just about to close up the library.
Spend your afternoon with us. Stay with us for GBH's All Things Considered at 4.